so clear, I've always been falling through a life that's upside down. Somehow you turn me around. So stay another night. We had this time. Keep you close and savor the moment. You raise my hopes and don't even know it. In a life that's upside down, somehow you turn me around. So stay another night. 'Cause all we had is time. Can't take heartache, but I don't think I'm ever getting past you. All day, I'll stay. You and me, a beautiful disaster. Always fight until we go insane. Fuck all night until we don't feel pain. All day, I'll stay. You and me, a beautiful disaster. I know why your mind is so dishonest. I see you at a fucked up life before. I'm surprised the 45 is loaded. You're really trying to blow my brain tonight. Fucked up on a Saturday. The vibes ain't right and the sex don't feel like love. I know that there's better days. The memories are gone. It's a beautiful disaster. Can't take heartache, but I don't think I'm ever getting past her. All day.
What's up, chat? What's up? What's up? What's up? So, I wanted to come back live because there's so much going on. There's so much going on. So instead of like we're doing a whole big announcement, we're just gonna chat on stream. You know, we're just gonna have a lovely chat today. Hey, A7. Hi, Felix. What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? Good afternoon to you. So if you read the title, it says Trump tariffs, CME limits. Let me add the economy. Or we'll just leave it. We'll leave it like it is. But yeah, so lots going on. So I'm sure you heard about the CME limits because we talked about it on stream briefly today. All right. You know, when the market falls below a certain limit, that's when they kind of put a cap on it and they're like, all right, volatility is out of control here. So that's basically why Topstep is having those with XFAs and live accounts not trade right now, right? Now, following that, you may be wondering, well, what about tomorrow? Can we trade tomorrow? How does that work? Well, when the market closes, the CME is going to release a report for the new limit for tomorrow. Okay, so you have to wait till the market closes, maybe about 15 minutes after the close or whatever. It'll be sent out by then, but they're going to send limits, and based off of those limits, I'm sure Topstep team's already on it. They're going to be adjusting. Okay, tomorrow's limit is this. When it hits this limit tomorrow, no one can trade. You know what I mean? So none of us know what the new limit is going to be until the market closes today. So just a heads up, make sure you are paying attention to your email tomorrow morning, because Topstep may send you an email, say, hey, we hit the limit. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Hey, player said it's not a surprise. Yeah, so I got the chest pulled up here, and I also have Hasan up here. I was watching Hasan. So let's take a little peek in and check out what Hasan is saying. When I was briefly listening, he was talking about how the price of bananas is about to be $10. I couldn't help but laugh because I'm like, the price of bananas being $10. Oh my goodness. For those who don't know, if you live in the US, then you know it's extremely expensive to live here. It's extremely unfair how expensive it is. But bananas are very, very cheap, right? They cost like 99 cents. So the fact that he said bananas are about to be $10 is kind of funny. So yeah, the chat is moving very quickly here. But if you know Hasan, you know he's got millions of followers. Looks like there is 30,000 people watching this live stream, so we're going to be checking it out. Alrighty. All right, let's check it out while we... That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch this to this side, and there we go. All right.
Trump, regardless of what these fucking freakish cultish losers are saying, because you can't make someone, through the cult mentality, you can't make someone believe that they have more money in their pocket. If they feel it, they feel it. Okay? Oh, dude, China like removed term limits for their premier like what Xi Jinping did? Yeah, ironically enough, that question you're presenting is exactly what we are doing. We're doing the
so yeah,
bad
feel free to
parts
chat
of
with me.
Chinese governance, and
We'll
not
be
the good parts
reacting
of Chinese governance.
to Hasan. He's talking about Trump. He's talking
America
about the
already had a
tariffs, talking about the
surveillance state that
market.
is accelerating. America, at the very least, cared about like a theoretical free speech. It's eroded. We're moving in the Chinese direction in all the worst ways, in all the wrong ways, and not moving in the Chinese direction in all the best ways, in the right ways. Even development, rapid urbanization, massive infrastructure projects, massive infrastructure expenditures. This is the problem. That is the issue. Because people ask, like, what's next? How do we get out of this? How do we get out of this rut? And the reality of the matter is you only get out of this rut with serious government investment. That's the only way to get out of this. You cannot rely on the capital owners that put you in this fucking place, put you in this problem to begin with. You cannot rely on the magnanimous nature of capital owners. You cannot bully them through tariffs to boost manufacturing domestically. That process will take far too long. You still have to have serious control over that transition. And Donald Trump seemingly is not interested in doing that at all.
He's right. We can't just bully other countries to pay higher taxes and expect, oh, our problem's fixed in the economy. It's going to take a lot more
And
than
I don't
that.
think people understand it.
And we're creating more enemies.
The reason why I bring up all this stuff is because I am not anti-tariff. I've never been anti-tariff. I've never been anti-trade protectionism. However, what Donald Trump is doing is not trade protectionism at all. And that is very important. That's important to understand. That's important to address. And we must address it, especially at a time when there's a lot of confusion because you got Sean Fain, who I love, who I admire, who I think is brilliant, revolutionary, and very very critical of the Trump administration, coming out and saying some of these tariffs are good. And I want to cover that. I want to cover the Democracy Now! Piece that famous Marxist professor Richard Wolff talked and responded to the Sean Fain statements on. I don't think Sean Fain took an L necessarily. I'll describe to you where he's coming from, why he's saying the things that he's saying, because the UAW's official position is that tariffs aren't bad. Free trade is bad. Okay? And we'll get to that in a second. But
Auto repair
let's finish
shop in
this.
Glendale, Wisconsin.
Will you have to raise prices for your customers?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
By how much?
I guess the minimum is going to be 25% on all parts.
He worries his business will suffer.
What we see is it kind of freezes.
Why are you not anti-tariffs? No. Make no mistake. I'm anti everything that Trump did yesterday. I am completely against it.
He just said
And I
I'm
will tell you
anti
why I'm
everything.
against it. I'm saying,
What's up,
I'm
V
not
Crow?
against
How's it going? How's it
tariffs
going?
On principle.
If you're
Like,
just now joining
I'm
us, feel free to
I'm
ask
against
questions. I just
free
kind of
trade
discussed.
on principle, especially because as it stands currently, free trade is not
Let
actually.
me pause this. I'll give a quick summary real quick if you're just now walking in the door. Basically, he's talking about these Trump tariffs, how it affects your 401k. He already kind of talked about that before we start the stream, but how it's affecting the market. Now he's just kind of like going off on what's currently going on in the country. Mindful Matters, what's up? What's up? What is this? This is Hasan. Just reacting to Hasan talking about the economy and stuff. But yeah, as far as those limit goes, if you're just joining me, if you're trading with topstep, remember, if you have an XFA or a live account, you cannot trade right now. You will be liquidated. And that's just because the market has dropped below a certain limit, which means volatility is going to be, all right, which is, abnormal stuff. So that's why there's a limit and you can't trade right now. Now, as far as tomorrow goes, the CME is going to release a new limit for tomorrow. Tomorrow's NFP too, by the way. So it's going to be crazy, I think. But you got to wait till the market closed today for the CME to release the new limit. When topstep evaluates the new limit, topstep will send out an email, okay? And it will that'll let us know what our limit is tomorrow. And when we hit that limit tomorrow, if we hit that limit tomorrow, same thing's going to happen. They're going to be like, hey, you can't trade. So just a heads up. Maybe the same thing tomorrow. We all cool and caught up? All right, cool. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to chat with me. I'm just playing some chess while
If I'm a European leader
listening
right now, I'm
to Hasan.
fucking pissed.
Oh, you trade
Because
options now. Nice.
This entire global trade structure
Hey, Tony. Appreciate your time. Thank you,
was
Tone.
directly designed by American businessmen and European businessmen as well, but specifically dominated by American businessmen. We built this complex web. We took advantage of this complex web for decades. And now Donald Trump's like, nah, I'm done. I want more in return from you. And the reasons why he's doing this are there's the suggestions that he's making, like what he claims he's doing this for, and what I know is the real reason why he's doing this. And I'll be very honest with you. It's clear. This is to try and decouple the West, specifically the United States of America, from China as the manufacturing hub of the planet. That's it. Okay? This is seen as a matter of national security. This is a national security concern from the perspective of
The interesting perspective he
anti-China
has.
hawks in the American government.
You passed top step.
They
Let's
understand that
go.
If China were to
Oh.
not be so restrained,
You blew the count a week later. I'm sorry.
One day,
I'm so
and,
sorry. I literally
all
read
of a
the first
sudden,
half.
Stop
I'm
the
sorry.
flow of treats to the United
That's
States
okay.
of America, especially as China has
You got
implemented
this.
initiatives to
Run it back
create
again,
secondary
right?
markets for themselves, specifically in Africa, developing Africa, and using
Oh my
that
God,
as
I
a
messed
market
up.
to sell
I
to.
messed up.
Like these are all the Belt and Road Initiative. These are all important steps that the Chinese government has taken because of its grand design for global trade. It in that process of China decided, yeah, you know what, we're just not, you're fucking us over. Okay, no more goods for you. It would collapse the United States of America. It would just collapse it. It would collapse the entire West. And I think that Donald Trump and his advisors recognize that fear and are actively trying to work against it. They're actively trying to bring back manufacturing and claw back some of that capability by force. The problem is they have no vision. They have no conviction.
They have
They're
no vision. It's
squishy.
crazy.
And they're backed by capital.
They have
So
no
how
vision.
the fuck do you do that when you try
What's
to do
up,
that
Johnny?
through the neoliberal private
You had a
partner,
doc appointment. I hope everything went well.
private-public partnership that you only implement?
How we do today?
You
Red
can't do
day,
it.
but I
You can't bring back
don't want to say I
manufacturing
quit
this
early,
way.
but
The most you'll do is the CHIPS
we hit that
Act.
CME limit, so we stopped trading.
Ironically enough, what Biden was doing was the extent of what you can
Trump
do
tariffs
if your
been on my news
vision
all day.
is
Had to
stuck
tune in for some info.
within the neoliberal framework.
Still saw on the aircraft panel. Nice, A7. Hey,
That's it.
appreciate you tuning in.
And without that, without even the CHIPS Act, for example, without actual
His
investments
chat is
into
going
American
crazy.
manufacturing, there is no
Now people get
world
about
where
politics.
you can just simply rely on companies going, yeah, let's build our factories here in the United States of America. And this is a dangerous prospect for numerous reasons because it will backfire for a couple different reasons. The lack of vision, the lack of Chinese vision, Chinese style central planning vision within the American government will inevitably lead to massive failures. Why? Because without central planning in this process, you're simply relying on foreign investment coming back into the United States of America because they're too fearful of the tariffs or whatever, which is already on shaky ground to begin with. That's number one. Number two, when tariffs kick in, and let's say you do start
hold on,
building
chat. What
factories,
happened?
you build the domestic manufacturing, you build your output.
What happened?
There is no guarantee that other
Sorry
countries
about that,
will be
chat.
purchasing. The
Give me
trade
10
deficit
seconds.
Is what Donald Trump wants to fix. But there's no guarantee
I have
that
no
other countries are
idea
going to start
what the
purchasing
heck
these
just happened.
commodities from the
Yeah, we're
United States of
back.
America once it's made in the United States of America. That's number one.
I don't know why my
Number
screen
two.
cleared like that.
You build the manufacturing.
Recovered losses this
Okay,
week,
you
but last
shut
night was rough.
off,
Had to cut myself off. Starting to move
trade
funky.
Internationally, you shut off trade from China.
I'm glad you recovered your
That way,
losses.
because now you have an alternative. You have the domestic
Got an
production,
extension cord
okay?
out so I can do
Great.
PC watch.
Fantastic.
Nice.
You have the domestic production.
We'll get
no
them tomorrow?
one is gonna pay
Yeah.
tariffs because no
Well,
one
we'll
is going
see.
to
I
be
don't-
purchasing foreign
hey,
goods. So all of a
NFP
sudden,
day,
the tariff faucet is closed.
After all this terrorist stuff,
So it
it's kind of
doesn't
scary.
necessarily make sense
Not gonna lie.
on that front either. And more importantly,
I'm gonna have
even
to
in the
read it.
short term, tariffs
Rematch,
will,
rematch,
of course,
rematch.
lead to inflation. What is inflation? It is just a collection of commodities that you track. That's the and the prices of said commodities increasing. That's what inflation is. Why? Why will this lead to inflation? Because all of a sudden, every good, what a tariff is, for those of you who don't know, is an entry fee that usually an American importer is paying. Okay? It is not paid by the other country. It's paid by the person who is bringing the good into the United States of America. It's an entry fee that you're paying the American government. So it's a tax that they're paying. But that tax carries over to you, the consumer. How does it carry over to you, the consumer? Because you pay the entrance, you pay the entrance fee for the good that you're shipping into the United States of America, and then that automatically increases the price of the thing that you're selling because they have to keep their profit margins the same. God forbid they eat away at their profits. They're never going to do that. So all of a sudden, the price of the good is higher. Okay? So this is the reason why tariffs, especially universal tariffs such as this one, when applied, turn into a regressive tax, a sales tax, a flat tax. What is a regressive tax? A regressive tax is a tax that harms the working poor a lot more than it harms the wealthy. Because what are you going to do? Not fucking purchase gas? What are you going to do? Not purchase commodities? Not purchase food? No, you can't do that. It's going to break your bank a lot more than it breaks the banks
Bro,
of
he is
a
funny.
wealthy person.
What you
A
gonna
lot
do?
more than it
Not
hurts
get
the wallet of
gas?
a wealthy person.
What you gonna do?
It is a
Not buy
regressive
food?
tax. It's a sales tax.
He's right though. This is going
because
to
Americans
affect
hate
the
the
middle
word
class
tax,
more than anybody
Donald Trump has
else.
been able to expertly apply a
It's
sales
very
tax
sad. It's
across the board.
very possible it
without
can get rid of
ever
the whole middle
mentioning the
class.
word
You're either going to be
sales
poor or
tax and
rich.
how it will increase
It's
these taxes
scary.
on the fucking working poor.
If you're not dripping in multi-millions, then you will be affected.
That's it.
Sad to say.
So we're all going to get raises, right? No, you're not going to get a raise. You're probably going to lose your job, as a matter of fact, because as
Who said that in the
purchasing power
chat?
diminishes,
We're all going to get raises.
because of inflation, companies will no longer be able to
And
continue.
that's it, break
growing
even
and
3
be able to
times?
hire
Oh, yeah.
people, and
GG's.
inevitably will fire people. Layoffs will happen, which will accelerate
What's up, Forex Thunder?
the lack of purchasing power in the
How do
country.
I think the tariffs will affect
It will
gold?
cripple the economy, and you will go into a depression. A great one! A great depression!
In my opinion,
And this has happened in the American
they're
past.
keeping the
Not
market from
just the American
crashing.
past, as a matter of fact.
Although Nats is kind of crashing down, but
So
I
on the
just
one
feel
hand,
like,
I wanted to make sure that you understand that I am not necessarily anti-tariff.
honestly, I don't really care about gold. I just feel like we're in scary
Trade
times.
protectionism can
Like,
be good,
forget
especially when there is
trading.
a domestic,
I don't think people realize how
a
big this
domestic
is, like how much it
competitive
affects,
industrial
like he just
force
said, the
that
cost of
already exists
gas,
in
the cost
country.
of food.
So they can
Like,
quickly accelerate production.
you think the cost
For
of food
car
is high
manufacturers,
now?
for example, this
Oh,
very
we
much
didn't even get the
exists.
effect of this
UAW
yet.
For the American car manufacturers,
Like, it
this
could go
is
up 3 more
seen as
times than
beneficial.
what it is right now. Like,
However,
that's pretty scary.
the issue here is,
I don't know
as
about y'all,
it has
but
happened in the past, when Donald
I can
Trump
go to a
did,
grocery store and get like
tariffs before
5, 6
on-
things in my
on
cart, and I'm
other
already
goods
paying 50 to
last
70
time around,
bucks.
and as tariffs have been
And I'm
implemented
just
in the past,
getting basic food, not even
domestic
snacks. Just
manufacturers will
that's,
also
and I'm one
increase
person. That's
prices.
scary.
So unless, and this is the last part of the
That's
problem that I was
scary.
explaining earlier, unless there is price caps for
So like I said,
American
unless you're a
domestic
multi-millionaire,
coming
you won't
from
be affected much.
a
But
competent
everyone else who ain't no
administrative state that
multi-millionaire,
actually wants to boost
well, hey,
domestic
we
manufacturing
gotta, you know,
without
this is
making the
tough.
American
This is really
consumers
tough.
incur that cost. They have to do price control.
His chat's
But
funny,
they will
yeah.
never do that. And this is precisely why historically,
The person
whenever
that said,
tariffs
"Oh, we're gonna
happen,
get raises," like, are you
American
kidding me?
manufacturers also increase their
I need to know who
prices, as
commented
they
that
did
in this
during
chat.
COVID, regardless of supply
No, your
and
job's
demand.
not going to give you raises. Your job's not going to be able to afford you.
This
Hello.
can only be done because of
If-
the tremendous amount of corporate consolidation that took
Let me
place.
pause this. If imports are being raised, taxes are being raised, it's going to cost your company, whoever you're working for, more money to do the things they naturally do. So if they're putting more money out of their pocket, they're going to put less money in your pocket. No, they're not giving you a raise.
Seems
What?
like, you'll yell, but not at me. You'll yell at the fucking government. Great.
You shop
Okay.
60, 70 a week.
My profits will
Same. I'm
my
trying to
profit
keep it at
margins will go
70,
higher
but
and higher year over year. It's fantastic.
It's always above.
Do you
it's always
understand the
above.
problem here?
And that's
Do you
what
understand
that's just getting
why
like
this
basic
will
need stuff. I don't even get
abso-freaking-lutely
anything
increase
extra.
Prices? Because
It's crazy.
not only does this immediately increase prices for all goods that you purchase that are being imported into this country and all the raw materials necessary for even domestically manufactured goods, as a matter of fact, there's a lot of that as well that that will increase the prices of even domestically manufactured goods. But outside of that, domestic manufacturers will also increase their prices because now there's market demand for it. Now everyone else's prices are higher. Why should you make less profits? Because once you recognize that under capitalism, there is never, ever going to be a moment where those with the fiduciary responsibility of constantly improving their profit margins for their shareholders, constantly people that are legally bound to constantly improve shareholder value will always increase the profit margins to the best of their ability, always improve shareholder value to the best of their ability. Then you start recognizing that they will never have an incentive to reduce the profits. They will
I'm one
never
man and my
actually
shop
keep
is
prices
60. Oh,
stable.
okay, we're done.
Unless they're
Mine
forced to
only
keep
what I
prices
need to, no
stable.
snacks,
And a
etc.
country like the United States
Let me
of
know in the
America
chat, how much do
has
y'all spend on
never done
groceries
that,
a week
with
right
the
now?
exception of Nixon, I guess. And
Let
Trump
me
is
know.
certainly not the guy, I think, that will do that. This is why prices are slated to fucking explode. That's it. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has said the market is going to boom. And boom it has. And boom it has. Now let's watch Time doing how tariffs work from 2 months ago. Hopefully this will be a quick and short explainer for you.
U.S. manufacturers make cars for $100, and they are selling briskly here at home. But the Chinese enter the market. They set their prices at $75. U.S. cars don't sell as well. The government decides to help the U.S. car makers, and they slap an 100% tariff on Chinese car imports. The companies that do the importing pay the tariff to the government. They typically raise the price of their products to cover it. Now, cars from China cost $150.
Yeah.
Consumers flock back to U.S.-made cars,
And even if China goes, all right, we'll lower the prices of our cars even further to help out the importers, okay? Even if they say, we'll help out the prices, we'll help out on our end, the tariffs are usually so high that Chinese cars, once they do enter the American marketplace, because of the profit incentive from the importers, the middleman in that situation, they will still not be able to compete with American manufacturers. However, the way that this works is
$550
once
a
the
week?
Chinese cars on the marketplace are $150, these cars don't stay at $100. They go up to $125.
That's not US currency.
Sometimes
What
they
US
also go up to
currency are you?
$150. Do you understand?
How much USD or
the same
whatever your
incentive structure, the
currency
same
is?
profit motive exists for the domestic manufacturers as well. So they take advantage of the market and they also increase their prices.
all is good again. China may even open plants to build cars in the U.S., adding U.S. jobs to avoid the tax. But China likely retaliates and slaps tariffs on U.S. goods, making them more expensive overseas and hurting U.S. exports in different industries. Increased demand for U.S. cars and a lack of competition from other manufacturers may motivate U.S. car makers to raise their prices too. The market becomes less efficient and innovative.
Yeah, this last part is just
What does it say? Increased demand for U.S. cars and lack of competition from other manufacturers may motivate the U.S. car makers to raise their prices too. Well, yeah, I seen that. I seen about U.S. Car makers getting ready to raise their prices, but who are you raising your prices to? Ain't nobody buying no cars. People worry about buying groceries next week. People worried about paying rent. Y'all about to raise the car prices. Y'all really gonna go out of business. People can't afford it. Thank you, Lynn, for all the effort. Very inspirational. Thank you, JJ. 90 for myself, double for me and my girl. You see what I mean? Like, think about that. Like $100 a week just for you to eat. That's $400 a month. Just for necessities, just to survive, right? That's not even bills. That's crazy, right? It's honestly ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
outcompete every other country and their own domestic.
I mean, y'all see Forever 21 went bankrupt. They're closing down all their stores worldwide. You know how many other stores are going to be going bankrupt? Because people can't afford to just shop normally. People were, you know, it's going to be crazy.
With predatory pricing to outcompete everybody else. Because state subsidies with no real interest in improving profit margins, because every company is still ultimately controlled by the state, can be wielded like a weapon to eviscerate the American and European markets. Okay? Wait, you're admitting it? What do you mean? There's no admission here. This is just reality.
Did he just screenshot that comment so quickly? Y'all see this? He just took a screenshot of this comment. Someone said, "So you're admitting it?" with a face. Admitting what?
You're admitting it's unfair trade practices? It's not unfair trade
He
practices,
about to go off.
dumb fuck. It's only unfair trade practices because America can't fucking compete.
Someone said, "Ain't no
What
way."
are you saying? We also subsidize our agricultural output, for example. I think it's significantly less fair
1 second, Diamond.
when
Be right back,
the
chat.
United States government dominates a country and incentivizes them not to produce their own agricultural yields and instead makes them poorer and poorer as a consequence and simultaneously offer them our subsidized agricultural output instead. That's unfair. What China is doing is competing in the global market. China understands the game and plays it too well, and you're like, oh, it's unfair. They're dunking on us too much. Subsidize single industry and keep prices low, bankrupt all other companies in the industry, not unfair. My friend, that's a government. You're just coping because our government won't do that. I'm saying our government should do that. Hello? You're mad that America set the rules of the game and China is fucking dunking on us. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm literally talking about teaching America how to dunk. And you're like, no. Don't teach America how to dunk. Let's just put tariffs. If that is not unfair, then what's wrong with America giving free food and clothing into a third world country, destroying their local industry? Because the over-reliance on free food and clothing for the global south comes from what America did prior to that. Okay? China did not do that to America or Africa. Do you understand what I'm saying? We dominate these countries and then we make them reliant on our free agricultural output that we subsidize on our end. We do it so that our farmers can make a living. We do it so that those countries never develop their own agricultural output. That is infinitely less fair than China being like, all right, you think China isn't doing this on purpose? Wait, what? I don't think you understand, man. I don't think you understand what I'm explaining to you. Okay? I don't think you understand what I'm explaining to you at all. You are not comprehending anything here. China is competing against countries that are more powerful than it, because they are able to use the profit incentive backed capitalist liberal democracies and their lack of interest in dominating private corporations or controlling private corporations against them. America is doing that, on the other hand, to significantly poorer nations that we have kept poor, that we have robbed blind. He's running circles around you intellectually. I know he is. Yeah, if you're the stupidest person on the planet, then yeah. Why Twitch is recommending me terrorist propagandists? I don't know. Is there like a pro IDF account on here that Twitch is recommending to you? Is that what's going on, chatter? Why is our government allowing this? Because the American government has always been a proto-capitalist nation and then a hyper-capitalist nation. And everything that the American government has always done has been to protect the profit incentive and protect the bottom line of corporations. That is precisely the reason why the American government has done this in perpetuity. That's it.
Stephanie Ramos, you are at the port in Newark, where goods are shipped from all over the world, billions of dollars worth. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning, Rebecca. As you know, this port brings in hundreds of billions of dollars worth of goods each year from China, Vietnam, and other countries around the world. But those items are likely about to get more expensive. For years, Vietnam has been the go-to for companies trying to dodge U.S. tariffs on China. But starting April 9th, President Trump is rolling out a 46.
China is extracting value in unequal exchange in Africa, though. China didn't make Africa the ripe exploited ground that it is. Western powers did. China simply, once again, is out competing the Western powers, offering loans without the conditions that the IMF and World Bank have placed upon African nations. You are just mad that you can't compete against China. And it's funny because you're nothing. You're just like a normal guy like me. We have no say in this process, and we don't even fucking reap the rewards of this process. And here we are defending the American and the Western Empire's decisions. Like, what the fuck is this? It's just pure Western cope. And it's funny because that cope that you're demonstrating is old cope. It's cope from 10 years ago. Foreign Policy magazine and The Economist don't even agree with this assessment now, because even they are like, yeah, we have to take a closer look at the ways in which the IMF and World Bank have operated, because Chinese lenders are offering loans and even fucking eviscerating that debt in a moment's notice. And it's significantly better. And they're doing that to enter these marketplaces. And they're doing that so that they can actually develop these marketplaces, so they can actually sell to these marketplaces. China is in the process of developing a secondary market in Africa. That's what they're doing. They're trying to generate new customers. America, on the other hand, and Western powers, on the other hand, have never treated Africa in the same way. And that is precisely the reason why China can get to do that. Oh, yeah. China's extracting mineral resources from Africa, which they use to build more value-added products to sell back to them. China will never give up their IP and tech to give African countries technology that would actually allow them to climb the economic ladder. Again, the age-old adage once again comes true in the chat over and over again. Like, this person does not work for the Atlantic Council, and yet here he is repeating the same fucking sentiment, even though he's just like a random dude. What's it to you is the question that I ask, especially as America and the American government right now is destroying your fucking future, destroying your prospect for ever retiring, and you're over here still giving lectures about China. Age-old adage, once again, when China comes here, they build a hospital. When the Westerners come here, they give us a lecture. That's it. That's what you're doing. That's all you got. All you got is this. And it's funny because you're not even a Western diplomat. You're not working for the IMF. You're not working for the Atlantic Council. And here you are repeating shit that you read. It does not make any sense to me whatsoever. I don't understand it.
All right, chat, I'm back.
We've already covered this.
Went outside. There's so many people at the pool. We're drinking green tea.
Whenever China comes, they build a hospital. Whenever America comes, they bomb our hospital. Okay, that's different. That would be the MENA region.
What? Did someone just say they bombed the hospitals? What in the world? What's up, Ian? No more cheap China parts for the US, right? Yeah, that's a good point, A7. No more cheap China parts. Yeah, I got Hasan. Yep. We got Hasan up here.
New relationships with African
going,
countries, if it wasn't for the West's evisceration
Hasan
of
is
African
just
nations
too funny.
and consistent exploitation, hyper exploitation of African nations. You understand that, right?
We're catching him at the beginning. He just went live too, and you know he'd be on for
wonderful
hours.
liberators in comparison to the Western Empire and the forces that have dominated and kept African nations poor.
You've got millions of followers for a reason,
You
eh?
don't rob a poor man, you rob a rich man. It's not like Africa and African nations are poor across the board. They are actually resource rich. They're rich in labor power. They're rich in resources. It's just that they have been robbed blind and purposely kept underdeveloped by Western forces. They're overexploited.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
In any case, let's continue.
6% tariff on imports from there, possibly bringing a major price hike for many popular products. So let's say you want to buy a $30 shirt made in Vietnam. If the business passed on the entire cost of the tariff, that $30 shirt just became $43.80. Brands.
I mean, that's insane, dude. And that's everything because we designed global trade this way. We did this. It's so funny when you got working class chatters in here who are still trying to defend Trump's decisions, and they don't even realize that, like, you are going to be paying for this increased sales taxes. That's what this is. I don't think this is a move that Trump has made in an effort to shred the free market policies that have taken place, the complex global trade. I think it's not trade protectionism to boost domestic manufacturing, but instead to decouple the United States from its over-reliance on China and other countries within the sphere of influence of China that America and the Western nations have relied on for far too long for cheap consumer goods. But because there is no vision there to boost domestic labor and boost domestic manufacturing, that this is just simply a fucking additional sales tax that you're paying for. And you're defending it. You're defending it.
What's up, Steven?
Because of a guy who is from a class.
No, I just went live. I literally just went live.
And ruined this country's
I was up for a while, to be honest, watching him every day. Stressful.
Telling you
can't do anything to change what's going on.
Paying the sales tax because somehow, somewhere along
that's
the
cool
line,
though.
it's
Used to
going
be a subscriber of him, little member
It's
of him.
hilarious. It's ridiculous. It's fucking peasant mindset.
Yeah, honestly, I don't watch him every day, even though he's on every day, because it would make you go crazy, right? When you realize everything that's going on and how it affects you as a person. You know, it becomes a little scary with this economy, but yeah, right now we got a lot going on. So I'm gonna watch them, you know.
Of their production to
we got a lot going on right now, my goodness.
But Nike could face a big blow. The company produced 50% of its footwear and 28% of its apparel in Vietnam in its 2024 financial year. And here's another big change. Popular cheap brands like Shein and Temu.
Oh, I didn't know Nike was getting a lot of the labor done in Vietnam. Did y'all know that? Nike tracksuit's about to be $500, y'all.
See where your favorite products are made and consider buying from elsewhere. And if you're on a budget, consider buying secondhand. It's a really great way to avoid these new tariffs and be more sustainable too. But with the changes coming, this could really reshape everything you wear, from your shoes or even the toys that your kids play with. So get ready for a shift.
Everything you buy is about to be affected. Everything you buy.
Breaking news. Trump asked point blank about stock market plunge following tariff announcements. Let's see how he responded.
Oh, this is breaking news. You watch his YouTube vids? Oh, nice.
This
is that a jet in the background?
Oh my God. Are you fucking joking? Ain't no fucking way.
He's
Are
at a
you
golf
kidding
tournament?
me? Dude, no. Dude, if you are a Republican and you voted for this man and he just gutted your nest egg for a fucking retirement that you will never have, and then turns around, he's like, I'm going to a golf tournament, baby. Everything is grocery. Everything's computer. And you're like, that's right. That's my heaven sent president right there. He's got the heavens mandate, brother. If you don't understand that
The
he's
accents.
fucking you and not even doing it in a way where he like shelters you from the impact. He's just fucking you and saying, what are you going to do about it? If you can't comprehend that this man
Tired of seeing him? His face pisses you off? What's up, Casey? You talking about
Tsar
Trump?
Nicholas, exactly. It's giving Marie Antoinette. But instead of let them eat cake, which is, maybe falsely attributed to Marie Antoinette, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But if
I think people are going to start rioting. I ain't going to lie, chat. Like, not right now, but summertime or the end of the summer, I think people are going to start rioting because we're talking about being able to afford food, clothing, basic needs, not doing nothing extra. This is just, like I said, if you're not a multimillionaire, you are affected. We are all affected. This is just going to be crazy. It's going to be scary to see what the prices are in the next 2 months. Scary. Literally, middle class is just effed, you know?
It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is.
What is that in the background? Is there like a jet near him? Turn off the helicopter. What in the world?
And we've never seen anything like it.
Oh, it's
the
going
markets are
well.
going to boom. The stock is going to boom. The country.
It's going to boom. It's going to boom. 5 booms, like 9/11, lots of booms. Stock market is getting hit.
If you're just joining, he's mocking him. If you're just joining.
It's going to boom. And the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal? They've taken advantage of us for many, many years. For many years, we've been at the wrong side of the ball. And I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be unbelievable. The thing that people have to talk about, we're up almost to $7 trillion of investment coming into our country. And you'll see how it's going to turn out. Our country's going to boom.
Yeah.
Our country's going to boom. Okay. How about... Okay. Country's gonna boom. You know what our country's gonna boom? When I'm paying like $30 a week for groceries. That's when our country's gonna boom. When gas comes down, when everything goes down,
that
take away the taxes. That's when it's gonna boom.
How based this is, you know what I mean? Yeah. Well.
The stock market is booming. That's what's
I
booming.
really
People
thought he was gonna be
401ks are
popping
booming.
off, talking about how
That's what's booming.
Based. It's based. Chat. You don't understand. You're Asman's biggest fan? I am his biggest fan.
Everyone happen to know what he's watching?
I think he is.
Seriously,
he
have to
is
stream
my North
everything.
Star. He is how I try to comprehend what
he looked up
the
breaking
MAGA base
news.
and-
So
and
whatever, if you
what
go
their
on
feelings
YouTube,
are on any given day.
they have a breaking news
Without
like
him,
category.
I feel lost. I feel
If you like subscribe to that, you'll get all the like new
Do you
stuff
see what I'm saying?
when it just
Like,
happened.
Oh, it's the golden age. Yeah. Asman's on his way to a golf tournament. Yeah, fuck around and find out, chat. Yeah.
This is so funny. We have
He's
to
like a
laugh
guiding
about it,
star,
chat,
always there
because
in the sky, and
if
you
we
get
think
too close,
about
it'll
it the real way, we're we're all just going to be upset. We got to find some comedy
The
in
only
this.
thing I don't understand, if he wants
Okay,
to be
yeah.
trouble from China, wouldn't he say so? He's honest.
So
like
when I
that?
go
I
on
mean, he has been
YouTube,
saying it. He's been saying
I
it
scroll
already.
down a
He's
bit.
saying
When you
that, like,
scroll
it's
down a bit on your home screen, everyone
China
has a
is
breaking
cleaning
news
our lunch
section.
money, is
And then you
stealing, they're
can
stealing from us.
scroll through the breaking
Very
news
unfair.
section. You can
I
get
mean,
all the
also,
stuff that's going on
this
right now.
is, to be honest,
Yeah, we're
Osman
gonna
has the
boom
most
when they
honest
boom.
takes. Don't be a sheep. Yeah, no, totally.
By boom, he means implode.
Honest takes. Like, yeah, trans people. Yeah, Titties in video games. USAID came after boobs in video games. Yeah. And I hate it. That's why I think it's all right. We should destroy it. Yeah, I'm going to go on like Ash Ketchum. I'm going to go on one of these immigration hunts. Yeah. How do you...
All right, chat, let me just full screen this.
Thinkers just completely lost in the sauce, thinking
There we
that
go.
Donald Trump signing off on fucking no more trans women in sports is actually a real initiative. Meanwhile, your pockets are getting fucking cleaned out. You dumb fuck. He is distracting you.
That's what I said. I'm like, not just that, but the whole Gulf of America. Bro, that was the first thing you did when you came into office. We have bigger things to worry about than what something is called. Is it just me? We got bigger issues than the Gulf of America being called the Gulf of America. Who gives a damn about changing the name? There are more important things.
Not your landlord.
You know?
Okay? They're not your boss.
Just saying.
But every single moment that you hyper focus on that shit is a moment that these guys can just steal from you. And they are.
Yep.
That's it.
He's right. It's a distraction.
You might think you're...
Casey, that's what I said too.
You might fancy yourself to be open-minded or woke on what the fuck's really going on, but you've deluded yourself. You're being sheepdogged into a country that will yield worse outcomes for you. I mean, look, these are the shepherds, dude. Look. Where is it? Like, look at this fucking asshole. Where is it? Quarter chicken pounder with McNuggets. Where is he? Where the fuck is it?
Who's he talking about?
I closed it, but Quarter Pounder's tweet comes to mind, being like, "Oh, you don't need those goods. You don't need to buy things. You don't need to buy cheap shit. Who cares, you know?"
Quarter pounder is crazy. Who's he called? Quarter pounder.
Also, I've never said Asmongold is stupid. He's smart enough to understand what the audience demands. He just feeds it to you, and you eat it. You eat it every day. You eat that slop every day without realizing that you're being fucking sold on a future that's worse from previous generations. But because Trump and those who hype up Donald Trump can touch on those things that you've been conditioned into fucking hating so expertly, you don't realize when this shit's happening.
That is very true. People are conditioned to just hate each other. Who gives a damn what other people got going on in their life? Just worry about you and worry about, your family and stuff. He's right. You got people hating different groups of people. We're not here for that. We're not on this planet to hate each other. You know what I mean? It's crazy. People are just so distracted.
To the Quarter Chicken Pounder tweet.
You can be friends with someone and disagree with their lifestyle.
Right, hold on. It's this guy.
It shouldn't affect you. Know what I'm saying, chat? Like, if you got a friend that wants to live in a trailer, even though you disagree with that, and you ain't no trailer, who cares?
Chatters.
Maybe go visit your friends, hang out, or whatever. But at the end of the day, that don't mean you live in a trailer. This is AI. I'm reading the words. Y'all catch that lyric? It said, "We make problems, then blame you." We will make you live in fear. You are a puppet. Been trying to tell people stay woke. They try to make people scared. We live in a world where they want you to rely on your doctor, rely on the government. No, you gotta rely on your damn self. They don't want people to be able to think.
These are the same people that cry because they couldn't go to Outback Steakhouse.
They want you to
for
have
4
no
weeks.
confidence in yourself.
Yeah, they're doing the same shit. They're doing the same shit, which I will address and I will get into in a little bit. But let's keep looking at the glorious stock market crash. Okay, stocks are plummeting. Are you ready for the
scary,
new world
right?
order?
Now we begin with the breaking news from Wall Street. Trading has been underway now for just about 30 minutes, and nervous investors, very nervous investors, are weighing in on President Trump's historic new global tariffs. The early assessment, deep concerns. Almost all goods entering the United States will face a new tax of at least 10%.
NASDAQ, it breaks my heart, Nas. It breaks my heart to see NASDAQ down that far.
Everything. And that adds to the deepening concerns among economists that the U.S. and indeed much of the world may be on a collision course with a recession. Let's begin this hour with CNN Business and Politics.
Yeah, they're trying to hold back from saying it's a recession. It's a damn recession.
Watching all of this unfold. So, Vanessa, where do the markets stand right now?
Wolff, markets are tumbling as investors are really digesting worse than expected tariffs. You have the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P all down below, as you can see there, 3%. Retail stocks in particular really selling off. Nike,
what's up,
Adidas,
Karain?
Lululemon, these are companies that
This
source
is a great
lot of their
line.
goods
Thanks.
from abroad, countries that are now under higher tariffs.
In Q16,
and just look at the countries that were
14,
hit
500, I
in
bet
yesterday's
eventually.
announcement. You have the European Union, 20% tariff.
Yeah, let me see if I can show you where I
24%,
have it
China,
graphed to go.
34%, and Vietnam, 46%. Key trading partners to the
See
U.S.
if I could
Investors
find
are
it.
worried what this means for businesses, and then, of course, those businesses' profits. But let's just reset.
I gotta go on
What do we
TradingView
know
so I
right
could
now?
show
We
you.
know that there are auto tariffs in effect right now. But coming on Saturday is that
here we go.
10% universal
Like
tariff
3
on
weeks
Wednesday,
ago.
higher tariffs on about 60
3 weeks
countries.
ago, I called
Tariffs on
NASDAQ
auto
is going
parts,
all the way
Florida
down
auto
here.
parts on May 3rd, and then
That was when we were up here.
additional tariffs on lumber,
I said it's gonna keep
semiconductors,
going
and I'll add copper there
to
as
about
well.
this
And as you
this
mentioned,
area.
Wolff, there is talk of what this could mean for a recession. I just spoke to an analyst who says that the longer that these tariffs stay in place, the more likely that there will be a recession. We also heard from Mark Zandi from Moody's Analytics, who said if they follow through, if these tariffs go into effect, I'd buckle up and brace for impact. A
6,000.
recession seems more likely than not. Wolff?
All right, Vanessa Yurkevich in New York for us. Thank you very much, Pamela.
Well, Wolff, the White House and Republican lawmakers concede that the ripple effect of the tariffs will cause some pain to Americans.
If
The
we
White
go
House says it's
further,
the initial cost to revive manufacturing jobs in the U.S.
probably down in this
Too much
area.
winning. You'll say, Mr. President, we've done enough winning. Please, we no longer want to win. We no longer want to win again. Too much winning. I'll say, no, you'll keep winning.
Maybe
Here's what the
2,000
Vice
more
President
points
said
down.
this morning.
That looks more right.
For 40 years, we've had an
2,000
economy
more points
that
down.
rewards people who ship American jobs overseas and raises taxes on American workers, and we're flipping that on its head. We're going to cut taxes for American
Makes me happy
workers and
everything's
for
at a
American
discount.
companies that build here. We're
well,
going to make it harder to ship American
guess if you look at it in a positive way, huh?
It's a total shift in the
Buy the
way that
dip.
we've done economic policy in the United States of America, but it was necessary.
Hey, Americans. I know that you've seen your 401ks diminish by like 30%, but have you said thank you yet? Have you said thank you recently? Have you said thank you, Mr. President? Because guess what? When your 401k goes away, that'll only cause you to
Zone on the
grind
monthly
harder.
time frame for a swing. Nice.
I'm doing
Yep.
this for you. I'm doing this for you. Have some respect. Yeah. Have you said thank you once? I don't hear it.
All right, let's go live now to CNN White House reporter Elena Trina. Elena, what else are you hearing from the administration this morning?
Well, Pamela, it's clear that the White House has been very intentional in its messaging. You know, despite some of the president's defenders, Republicans on Capitol Hill, others who have argued that the president is a pragmatist at heart, that perhaps he would pull back on some of these tariffs, it's clear they were wrong. The president was serious about this, and as Vance just laid out, and as we've heard from other top advisors this morning,
with the stripes.
He is committed to these tariffs really because he fundamentally believes the United States is getting taken advantage of, and he wants to really break the trading system that has been built over the last 70 or 80 years now and see this realignment. Now, we heard from Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt this morning. She was speaking with CNN. She said that, you know, this isn't going to be a negotiation. This is a national emergency. Listen to how she put it.
The president is firm in his approach, and the president is...
Yeah, J.D. Vance also revealed the second incredibly nefarious side of this, which is that this is... like the other purpose for this.
He's stressed.
I've mentioned this a couple times in the
this
build-up
stuff
to the
is
tariffs,
stressful.
where, you know, when Trump says something and he put his mind to it, like, he will do it. And when there's too much backlash, he'll maybe claw it back a little bit and say, I fixed it, even after he broke it, right? But in the lead up to it, I kept repeating, like, there's a couple things that he's going to do here. Which is, I think he's trying to abolish income tax, which is insane. It is like one of the only progressive taxation methods that the government has, even though it still tremendously benefits capital owners, because capital owners get taxed at a much lower rate because they get taxed on capital gains rather than straight income, right? They get taxed on capital gains rather than straight income. So this... like, even though there needs to be more work and there needs to be an increase in the top marginal tax rate.
I'll be shocked if he actually doesn't back out of these tariffs
as well. Okay.
Oh, you think he's going to back out?
We're moving in the direction of abolishing that.
Breaks
and
things
saying,
to fix it.
We're filling our coffers with tariffs instead of income tax. It's a long-standing Republican project.
Yeah, go ahead, Corinne. Go ahead and drop those zones.
If Trump were to do it, in the way that Republicans were suggesting initially, he would just say, we're doing a mass sales tax, which will harm the working poor overwhelmingly because it's a regressive tax, instead of having income taxes. But this is a way to package that as though he's like boosting American domestic manufacturing, when in fact it's just a regressive tax that will be slapped up on top of the working class, because the tariffs, the entry fee that corporations pay, will be carried on to the consumer in the form of price increases, leading to hyperinflation.
Hyperinflation. He ain't say inflation. He said hyperinflation.
And in the process, then they'll shut off income tax, which is
I think he has to back out. Things actually get much more expensive.
It's fantastic. Do you think that this is a stupid?
He don't know what it's like to be poor, so
they are and selling it as a nationalist
that's the
project.
problem. When
It's
you
not
have people
even
in office
a way of
who
increasing
don't know what it's like to struggle
across the board.
They get rid of
It's a way
stuff that doesn't
increasing
affect them,
taxes on
you
the
know.
working poor, while cutting taxes even further for the wealthy. It is another wealth transfer. That is what is going on here. That is what's so nefarious.
It helps the wealthy,
because I don't
doesn't
believe
help
that
the
Donald
working
Trump is
class or the
pro-labor,
working poor,
pro-working class
like you
at
said.
all. I'm sorry. He has done nothing that shows me that he is genuine about his interest in boosting domestic manufacturing. I think he's simply using this tariffs structure to, one, undermine the World Trade Organization because of the favored nations benefits that China gets. And he wants to decouple trade from China. He wants to claw back as much trade from China as possible and other developing nations as possible, because The Trump administration is, I think, more honest about the death of American empire than neoliberals are. They realize that
they low-key trying to erase middle class. That's what I've been saying. Yep.
And they want to fight back
unfortunately,
to the best of their ability in the interim. But I still think
it's basically getting rid of the middle class. You know, you're gonna be filthy rich or filthy poor. It's gonna be one of the two. It's really
American prosperity decade.
Scary to think that way. You know,
ironically, do China shit here in America.
I don't think people realize
I've been advocating
how much of an impact this is gonna have
at this point.
Like, yeah, right now we're living, but you have to think months ahead what the effect is going to be, you know?
Donald Trump and
what's the effect going to be by the end of the year?
That China is dominating.
I mean, he fired like over 3,000 people who work for the government. Did y'all know that?
They're terrified of the prospect
over 3,000 people.
No longer being the hegemonic superpower.
How hard is it going to be for them to get a job?
They want to claw back as much
they don't have that salary that they just had. They make over 6 figures. No more 6 figures. Boom. Rip it away. They have cars, they have homes, they have kids, they have wives and husbands. Like,
that are in the public sector,
how are they just going to replace that income?
They will not be able to fix this problem.
It's unfortunate situations.
And
that's just an example of people who are working.
Yield super profits for the super wealthy once again. That's my assessment here.
Tough.
And that's where I think the UAW's analysis.
Craziest part is half the country voted for
this. Like Sean Fain's assessment here falls short of what is actually taking place.
I'll be honest with you. In my opinion, both options just.
Is ensuring economic
I didn't see it getting better with either option, to be honest.
This is a common sense policy, and if these countries wanted to
negotiate,
opinion.
I really didn't see it getting better with either options.
They've had 70 years to do it.
I think, Pamela, the end of her answer there, saying they had 70
Those stocks are discounted, kind of prices of everything's going up.
Because that's the question now. Where do we go from here? We're going to see, as Vanessa just laid out.
Yeah, like Jonah Furman, obviously doing comms for UAW, friend of the show, Jonah. He's great. Says, GM moves to increase production of light-duty trucks. GM production increases out of its Fort Wayne plant, according to Reuters. Jonah says, I guess strategic tariffs can work. I wonder if people smirking about other blue-collar layoffs will acknowledge and celebrate this or just keep defending a broken trade status quo. These guys understandably despise free trade, the free trade agenda and the free trade reign. And Trump is breaking that, but I don't think he's breaking that at the behest of labor. I think he's breaking that in a really stupid way. In a way that Americans would not see the benefit from. In a way where...
Right. So my thing with this increased manufacturing is I don't get why people are celebrating that short term, because who's buying it? Who's buying all these new cars that you're making? Who's buying... You're talking about increasing the prices of cars anyway. Who's buying this? People can't even afford groceries right now. Are you kidding? Can't even afford to buy underwear. Basic needs, you know what I mean? This is like, so them increasing manufacturing, saying, oh, it's gonna work for the country, we're gonna do all our manufacturing here and blah blah blah. You're gonna make it and it's gonna sit on the shelf. No one buying it. Who's buying it? Gotta pay rent, gotta pay mortgage. People gotta pay for their kids to eat. Ain't nobody worried about buying a new car.
More desperate. And instead of wages increasing, the more
this manufacturing push of manufacturing push is going to backfire.
$25 an hour. That is what I fear. That is what I worry.
I think he'll back out his dangerous need for attention.
And there is no. It is virtually impossible for me to feel.
So you think it's just like a
future?
What do you call? Like a stunt.
That's
stunt to be like, oh, never mind, we're pulling out.
That's what I think.
Fundamental reactions with
all of these different countries likely respond and in kind to these tariffs and retaliate. That could further escalate this trade war now. And so that's really the key question. One thing as well, just as we watch the stock market, is that the president has been far less reactionary to how the stock market is in this term, in his second administration, than in his first. We have been told repeatedly now not to see him react to the stock market directly because of this. Instead, he has said repeatedly now that he believes there will be some short-term pain. So I'd keep that in mind as well as we
Don't think he's going to back out.
All right, Elena Treen, thank you so much.
Who thinks he's going to back out? Actually, let's make a poll. I'm going to make a poll.
Tariffs will likely plunge the global economy into recession this year. Some countries say they're hoping they can negotiate with the U.S., while others have vowed swift retaliation. Listen.
We had been requesting the U.S. government to review its unilateral tariff measures at various levels, and we are extremely
All right, chat. Poll is up. You should see it in the next 2 seconds. Do you think Trump will back out of the tariffs? I don't think he will, in my opinion, based off of what he's shown.
We will continue to make the strongest case for these unjustified tariffs to be removed.
He's very much, this is what I said and that's it type of person. You notice that? Like, he don't give a damn what the script is. They'll give him a script to do a speech and he don't give a damn. He'll do his own damn speech. Like, I think he's very, I said what I said type of vibe. You know what I mean? So I don't think he's backing out.
Now China has vowed to counter what it calls bullying tariffs by the United States.
It is bullying. And this is why other countries are going to hate us even more. They already hate us, and it's not us. It's the damn leaders. It is bullying. Bullying other countries. Make them hate us even more. That's all we need.
And
you know?
Your tweet about this? Oh, yeah. China President Xi will meet with European leaders, including France President, Spain Prime Minister, and EU President in Vietnam in the coming weeks amid rising global trade tensions over U.S. tariffs. Europe seeking greater intimacy with China and...
Wow, so China's president's going to meet with everyone else except for the U.S. about the U.S. Look we're not even invited to the meeting, chat. We can't even go to the meeting because the meeting is about us. Can you... This is what I'm talking about. Just keep creating enemies. Jeez. They're going to come up with something. Maybe they're going to I mean, hey, I don't know. They're literally going to have a meeting about us and we're not invited. That's tough. That's a little scary.
It's not too late. I was early to the market with China glaze. Many people yelled at me. Many people freaked out over it. And now many of you will learn this hard lesson. Yeah, this is from the first.
Great chance he'll go through with it. As I said, he loves attention.
At Forbidden City.
Cycles complete 180. Trans issues were almost #1 because it's so they got him support.
Speaking Mandarin.
Yeah, it's all a distraction. Look, the way people live their life ain't got nothing to damn do with us. It's really not important. And they pose that as things to get people who agree with their opinions to vote for them. And then we get this. I'm sorry, but somebody being trans has nothing to do with the cost of my damn groceries. The cost of rent.
She's living my dream. He's living my dream.
The cost to live. That has nothing to do. You know what I mean? They're brainwashing people. It's all a distraction. Who cares? Let that person be that person. Who cares? You know? Who cares? Okay, cool. Do you? You know? It got nothing to do with me.
That's my dream.
But that's the agenda the government pushes. You know, they want you to not like people. It's a whole thing, chat. Tap in. Tap into the universe, God, your purpose, manifesting. Tap in. Realize God put us all here, right?
She is her grandfather's
just
little
saying.
angel.
We're not just floating in space out of nowhere because we're just freaking floating and rotating.
She's also a messenger of
You gotta believe it's something at that point. There's some type of greater power out there. Okay? There's some unexplainable things. You can't explain certain things, right? Out there in space. So, like I said, we're put here to learn lessons. We're here to learn lessons. We're here to grow. We're here to be better. We're here to all be happy, you know?
Wait, hold on.
We're supposed to be different. We're all supposed to be different. We're all individual people.
Hasan is like a toddler who learns a song and performs it constantly.
You know?
Yeah, performs it well. She would deservedly send your ass
Love
to camp
thy
if you did
neighbor,
that.
chat.
Yeah,
Love
okay.
thy
well,
neighbor.
I would still be in China if that was the case, though.
This chat is going crazy. What is top X?
The United States of America, and
People
with it,
keep
the rest of the
typing
Western
top
world not
X
run
in the
to
chat.
China.
What is that?
I mean, I'm trying,
TOPX. Anybody know what
I
that
don't
is?
think people want to
Oh,
hear what I have to say.
TOPXI. What's TOPXI?
You're brainwashing us all. I can almost sing it just from how much you do. Depression indicator, Campbell soup. Oh man. Yeah.
What is this
Water
person?
soup incoming.
Well, good morning.
It's a
China
person?
says it is ready to fight back, but if this is a war, it's not necessarily.
I can't tell if it's a
revealing its plans
person
about
or
how and
is it
when
AI?
it will strike.
What is this?
It certainly has the option, though, of continuing on the tariff theme by
I have no idea.
instituting more tariffs, more punishment, specifically targeting American farmers. Right now,
My point about the trans thing was Trump said he didn't care about it in his first term, his cycle. He focused on it a ton because he had no real convictions. He says whatever gamers more support.
Today, China's been very much taking
I think
on
it's a
this
reference to
diplomatic
XI.
tone,
Oh,
talking about
XIN.
themes of resolving
Okay.
differences, urging the United States to cancel the tariffs. So it's kind of this.
Well, that's just like the what's the name, the DEI hire. Do you know how much I see on Twitter that a lot of these people who are MAGA, Make America Great Again supporters, a lot of them think that just because someone's black and they got hired, it's because they're not qualified. It's just to serve the DEI purpose. That is so untrue. If anything, it's harder for us to get jobs because we're not a white man. If you're not a white man, it's a lot easier to get a job. It's still hard to get a job, but you have a way better chance than someone being a female. You have a way better chance than someone being black or just not white or mixed. You have a way better chance. You know, so the point of the DEI Act is to make sure that companies are being fair and not just hiring only white men, making sure, okay, make sure you're hiring women, make sure you're hiring people of color, make sure you're hiring anyone else who's just not a white man. That's all it's there for. And I don't think people realize who are fighting it on Twitter that it's for women too. Some people are brainwashed. They think it's just for black people. No, the rights under there is for women as well. So you over here preaching get rid of DEI when you have a wife or you have daughters, you don't want your daughters to have a fair chance to get hired. But yeah, it's just so brainwashy to make people think that people are getting hired to fill a quota rather than because they're qualified. Come on. There's no way you think that. You know?
Finally.
You have to be qualified to even get invited in for an interview.
We are so back. It wasn't even plan B. This was plan A, baby. Plan A.
The auto giants, including Toyota and Honda. Wolff.
But yeah, his first thing getting in the first couple weeks in the office was trying to get rid of the DEI.
Let's go to China,
It's crazy.
man, please. Oh, dude.
I was coasting off
we
pretty
got
pretty.
Cuba coming up, and I'm gonna set up China too. I'm gonna set up China.
And at the end of the day, you got to blame the hiring
Holy
managers.
moly,
These
we
hiring
gotta do it.
managers are terrible at companies.
Oh my
Let's just be
God.
honest.
Oh my God.
Announced 20% tariffs on imports from the EU. So let's go live now to Paris and CNN senior international correspondent Melissa Bell. Melissa, how big of a blow are these tariffs to Europe?
Look, a senior European official has been talking to me just a short while ago about the figures. They were handed this 30-page document.
By the way, I appreciate y'all tuning in and
Europeans
rocking with
are
me.
contesting a bunch of the figures. They
I know
say
it's
that
not
sort
what
of
you
mistakes.
expected.
There are things that have been seen applied.
The
Tariffs
world is going
applied
to
them
shit.
twice.
So we need to
Overall,
talk
what
about it.
Europeans are saying is that if you look at the last 3 rounds
Not the
of
world,
tariffs
but
that
you know
have
what I
been
mean.
applied to them,
Just
70%
there's
of all
important things
European
going on
goods
right
heading to the
now
United States
that need to
are
be
now the subject
discussed.
of tariffs. That is
And
380 billion euros
they
worth of
affect you
goods.
as a
So it's
person,
huge
even
blow
if you don't
to the
trade,
European
right?
Union. And what's interesting
But
is that the
especially as a
Commission is
trader,
saying
it
on one
affects
hand
you
that it's going
too.
to seek to negotiate the high-level negotiations with
Everybody's
Washington
affected.
begin, we
You, your
understand,
family,
even
your
tomorrow
kids.
afternoon. But at the same time,
Everybody.
they're really preparing for a war. They say that they did not start, but that they are ready to wage. And what they say their biggest asset is the biggest single market in the world. So 450 million consumers that they say they're going to protect, but also use in their fight. So things like, for instance, sourcing.
I just know, as I said, Trump's Liberation Day is more like Inflation Day. Facts.
From other partners in the United States.
Who
But
thinks
more
that's a
than that,
fact in the
Commission has
chat?
a
Let me
bunch
know.
Of more measures, retaliatory measures up its sleeve that could hurt, for instance, big tech. that make, say, Europeans 30% of their profits in the EU, Europeans are preparing to fight back and to fight back quite aggressively, Pam.
All right, Melissa Bell.
Well, everybody's going to fight back.
All right, Pamela, let's get
China's having a discussion this weekend without us.
Joining us, the New Jersey Democratic Senator Cory Booker. As you know, he just
Of course they're going to fight back.
Record, I should say, this week.
They're not going to stand to be bullied, especially when they're already over our shit.
Booker stuff fell apart in spectacular
Somebody's sick and tired of you. You think they're going to take you bullying them? No.
Of, global trade. It is but a mere afterthought now. Like I told you that people weren't going to give a shit about this, but I didn't predict that it would fizzle out. That it would fizzle out so quickly.
For the longest floor speech in the modern history of the U.S. Senate. Senator, thanks so much for joining us. I want to talk about your marathon speech in just a few moments, but let's get to the breaking news first.
Users on Chinese platforms call you a China anchor? Like a pro-China anchor? Because I am.
What kind of impact, Senator, are you expecting?
What type of comment?
These massive Trump tariffs?
Wait, you really do have motion? 4K likes, 133 coin dono. Hasan Abi, watch speech, Shaolin Temple. I must go to China. 449,000 views, dude. I told you guys that the Hasan Abi industrial complex has to also maintain a dominant presence on all Chinese platforms. And I'm glad that people are doing it. I'm glad that people are getting in on it. I hope that the Chinese Hasan Abi heads are popping off. As you guys know, I do not maintain IP anyway. I don't care. I'm very Chinese like that. And therefore, go forth and prosper.
He's such a troll. If you're lost, he's just sarcastically replying to comments in the chat.
Well, I'm already hearing an explosion of a reaction from across my state, and people from across the political spectrum are angry and upset.
If you're just now joining us, I asked earlier, how much money do you spend a week on groceries? Let me know in the chat. Those who were here earlier answered. But if you haven't answered yet, or if you just joined us, let me know in the chat. How much money do you spend a week on groceries? I usually spend about 70 to 80 in the store, and
Midas touch,
I still end up ordering food sometimes because I do cook every day. So
I got no motion, man.
It's definitely over 100. Ends up being over 100. 130. Try to keep it under 150.
I wonder how many Q1 2025.
It's a lot.
Got 1 million new subscribers. Is crazy.
It's tough, right?
Pretending to be Chinese after pretending to be Japanese, huh? Shh, Caroline.
Changed algorithm. The guy said watch about 8 Globe Talk videos.
Never repeat that.
It's really happening. The UK had survival boxes being delivered to their homes.
5 days to upload.
Really?
Bruh. Lost a Rubin report. I know.
Well, yeah, it's scary times, chat. Scary times. Like I said, I think people are going to start rioting. They're going to get sick of this shit.
This is a very good piece from.
I do.
Rich
I think
Wolff,
people are going to
who's
come together and start rioting.
Talking about
not right now.
Impacts
In a couple months.
And what the sole
Could
purpose
happen
of
now,
these tariffs
but
are, and why the
a little
UAW's
scary.
assessment on it is perhaps a little too.
Pray for the world.
And maybe, perhaps a little too hopeful and.
People who've been working their whole life are about to go homeless. It's really sad.
The American economy.
It's not fair.
Is Democracy Now.
If you're a working person, it's
the biggest hike in global
the stress
tariffs
of
in
debt,
modern US history,
the stress of not being able to pay bills, the stress of not having money in your account that makes you feel comfortable. That's a terrible feeling.
Many U.S. trading partners,
terrible
including the
feeling.
European Union, China, and Japan, will see even higher
Get a lot of
tariffs.
groceries from Whole
China
Foods
now
discount,
faces a
otherwise
total
be 200 or more.
54% tariff. Trump announced the plan
cook at
during
home
a
every day.
speech in the Rose Garden at the White
I
House.
like to go to Sprouts, which is like Whole Foods.
Liberation Day.
I go to Sprouts and I do like Target for like
April
little
2nd,
things.
2025 will
But yeah, I like to
forever
go to
be
Sprouts.
remembered.
Yeah. By the way, Dow dropped.
They won't tell us that War's Among Us. I really couldn't sleep overnight.
Biggest wipeout since 2020 is fears from fallout from terrorist.
Yeah, I got family in the military, so I definitely worry about it a lot.
There's the day.
So yeah, those of you who have family in the military, especially that are highly ranked, that I'm sure, you know, there's a lot more going on that they aren't talking about.
No. I hate when you're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, chatter.
What
was that?
His destiny was reclaimed.
Yeah.
And the day that we began to
liberation. Yeah.
Make America wealthy again. Gonna make it wealthy, good and wealthy. For decades, our country has been looted.
Make America wealthy again. It kind of seems like you're doing the opposite, but fair play. I mean, if that's the plan, then make it happen. You know, make it happen. We need to save the middle class. Like there's a lot that needs to be done here. Forget the Gulf of America, the Gulf of Mexico. That is so unimportant. We're about making America wealthy again then, like you said.
The impact of Trump's tariffs are expected to be felt around the world.
That's just for the food
While
I eat
Trump
daily.
claims the tariffs will boost the U.S. economy, many economists fear it could lead to a recession or worse. Trump's trade war could also shift global alliances as countries seek new trading partners. China, Japan, South Korea have already announced plans to increase trading ties and
Here, I'll play this.
Exactly. Wait.
Barriers.
They're going to counter it back with more taxes. If you say, hey, we're going to raise taxes, you owe us this amount of money. And they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, we're going to counter you and raise it to this much too. So then there's no effect. So then this all was pointless, right? If I say, hey, when I do you a favor, you got to pay me $20. And you go, oh, okay, well, I do you favors all the time. So how about when I do you favors, you got to pay me $22? Well, now we're freaking equal. What was the point of this? If they're all going to counter back with taxes to offset it, then it's kind of like this is for no reason. Am I wrong?
Industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen.
Asman's reacted to it right now.
To an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why effective
800K views.
We will impose a 25%
reacted to it yesterday
tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
Yo, Asman got 800K views reacting to this yesterday. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of people tuning in.
I'd like to have you come up here for a second, okay? I just see him sitting. He's been a fan of ours, and he understands this business a lot better than the economists, a lot better than anybody. Brian, say a few words.
Well, I mean, people want to know what's going on in the world, you know?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Because this could be confusing to follow by yourself.
I grew up just north of Detroit, Michigan. In my time, plants sitting idle. We support Donald Trump's policies on tariffs 100%, Mr. President.
Or 12 years.
Why? Why do you support the tariffs?
This is remarkable.
See, people who say that they support the tariffs never say why.
Brian Kilmeeing, dude.
I'm just curious.
It is quite remarkable. Like his input is just going, yeah.
Curious to hear the explanation and the thought process.
Over a fucking Trump seminar here. He's putting on
no troll chat. I'm being serious. I like to hear.
And his nerd ass has to sit there and
why
like
other people
defend
think
these
certain
decisions,
things.
In the nerdiest ways possible, even though he's wrong. And so is Asmagol, but he's wrong in a
he's just like, yeah, I'm for it. And it's like, okay, cool. Why? And it's like crickets.
It's fucking awesome.
Crickets. Still be looking Korean, see sweatshirt trades in Discord.
I wonder if my editors posted my reaction to this already. Let's see how I covered this. If it's out already. It's tariff
It's
time.
Liberation
Day, folks.
Tariffs on imported products are tactics of a recession now?
I did, Steve.
You can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes.
I like his necklace.
It's very windy out here. We didn't want to
get two different necklaces on.
It had no chance. Tariff of 34%.
Low key, it goes.
We should have just let
with
it
almost
ride.
everything.
We should have just let it ride. That's the problem here. It is so funny.
Very tough. Very, very tough trade.
You can just put any number you want on there once you add those.
European Union, very friendly.
Once you.
What? Did that say 67%? He really hates China, huh? Bro, what the hell? You got people at the bottom with 10% get 67%. What the hell? Most people have been defending the tariffs say something like, well, other countries have been doing it to us forever. We need to get even. What? You brought yourself a PC. Let's go. Can you put a picture of it in the Discord? I kind of want to see it, if you don't mind. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. I'd love to see it.
Zeldin's working to get their approvals.
90%. Vietnam, 72%.
World may be the biggest for that, but 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan.
He's out of his mind.
Very, very tough. Great people.
Hey, yo!
And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that oval.
Why was the Taiwan part driving you crazy? I'm dumb. Because slapping tariffs on Taiwan while recognizing it as a separate state from China is a hilarious thing to do, because Taiwan has incredibly important strategic positioning for us. It is the chip manufacturing hub.
Oh wait, Corinne, you put your chart in the chat. See Corinne's chart.
Manufacturing hub of the Western world that is slammed in
for
the ass
NASDAQ.
of China at a time.
Okay, yeah, you got the same level I'm looking at. Yep, all the way down there. That's what I'm thinking too, and I'm thinking down here we're finally going to recover, and he's going to announce some good news.
Not only in the short term
to make it go back up,
destroys the GPU prices and prices of everything pretty much. Okay, but also it ruins America's interest. It ruins America's strategic interest in Taiwan, because America wants to use Taiwan as a weapon against China.
By the way, Craig, if you got a picture of that PC, I'd love to see it.
Long-standing American foreign policy. It makes no sense. It undermines the it's the DPP, right? You have the KMT, which is now in favor of unification, ironically enough, and you have DPP, which is in favor of separation. It undermines at the domestic level in Taiwan the influence of the power that the DPP has, because now they look like fucking assholes. They look like douchebags. They're like, yeah, no, we have to separate from China. KMT is not in favor of unification. Yes, it is.
And what's cool about this stream is you can use it as a podcast, y'all. You know, if you're driving, if you're going to the gym, whatever you're doing, you just pop me in your headphones and boom. Make it podcast style.
What do you mean?
Billions of dollars.
Put the hat on. That's how you know I'm apolitical. Anyway, we should just be ripping the raw reacts, I think, in an expeditious manner. I wonder if that would do better numbers overall, instead of trying to effort post and make a highly edited production.
It's too
funny. More normal, man. My boss came in while you were singing the damn China anthem, and now I have a meeting with her and HR on Monday. I'm in Taiwan. I spoke with a bunch of people in the streets, and unfortunately, TSM is not a big part of everybody's mind, so they think of the tariffs as a non-factor.
These comments
is a non-factor.
Not the person saying my boss came in and I have a meeting on Monday in HR.
That was the only country that's being
they heard the stream.
Don't think of the tariffs as a significant factor.
What the world?
Their response to Trump's tariffs. We begin today's show with Richard Wolff, professor of economics emeritus, University of Massachusetts Amherst, visiting professor in the graduate program in international affairs at the New School. He's the founder of Democracy at Work and hosts a weekly national TV radio program called Economic Update, the author of a number of books, including most recently Understanding Capitalism and the Sickness is the System, when capitalism fails to save us from pandemics or itself. Professor Wolff, it's great to have you with us again. Well, start off by responding to, and were you surprised, shocked, or do you guess that, well, about 185 countries were going
listening to you in the background as I do some web dev? Ah, you're a web developer, Steven. Okay, I see.
This was coming. On the other
what
hand,
language
the sweep
are
and the
you
scope
using?
Of it does make you stop. Mr. Trump is right. It is a changing moment in American history.
What coding languages are you using?
But I think his representation of what's going on is completely fantastical and has only to do with the self-promotion that he is engaged in most of the time. It was never foreigners who did it to us. This notion of the United States as a victim. We have been.
I gotta get like Hasan. I gotta get a bunch of like sweatshirts that are just so easy to put on.
Economic wealth, particularly for people at the top just like him.
Just get a bunch of different sweatshirts, different colors.
Taking advantage of us.
Makes it so much easier in the morning to stream.
Strong and powerful.
Simple stuff.
Relative to others, to blame the foreigner. These are cheap shots that a real president wouldn't do. And there's the most important point. The American economy is in trouble. The American empire is in decline. We don't want to discuss it in this country. We engage in denial, and instead we are striking out at other people.
Next JavaScript. Oh, that's a backend program, right? Next.
The British Empire declined before us. So did all the others.
Okay, I didn't learn Next yet, but I know I'm aware of.
21st century is different. You have to face.
I'm aware
those
that it
problems.
exists.
That's not
But
being
I haven't
done.
learned it.
What's being
Drop
done
the PC.
is
Okay.
to say we have difficulties, but they're all somebody else.
Karain dropped the PC. Let's take a look at Karain's brand new PC. Great job, Karain. I'm really proud of you. How are you doing with your topstep accounts? You still got 3 of them? Hey, you got the light at the bottom. That's different. Got the light at the bottom. Okay. Oh, wait. Is that a Lego car? Hold on. Wait, that's pretty sick. I like that. That's so cool. You got a spoiler on it too. I love it. I like the white PC look is different. That's clean. I love this. That's cool. That's nice. You got a video for us too? Okay, let's check out the video. Ah, yo, that's clean. The keyboard too? What? Okay, all right. Wait a minute. Look at you. Hey, you got that payout from Topstep and you said, you know what? It's time to upgrade. Yeah. I love that for you. That's dope. That is so dope.
Things. Breaking them fast with
Really
no
love that.
conceptualization of how we
I'm gonna show that on stream tomorrow.
Problem at all. It would take
Man's bringing the neons
at
back.
minimum, even if America tomorrow.
Oh, your girl got it for me for you.
Operate like
Nice.
China. Central
That
planning,
is sweet.
Tremendous amount of control
Let's
over
go.
American industry, and decided to implement like martial law.
You know,
style
Kareem,
Defense
you came a
Production
long,
Act.
you came a long
There are
way,
some
man.
tools in the tool belt that presidents
Remember when
can
you
use,
first
right?
you first joined the group when I was on my losing streak,
They're like doing
and I was losing all the viewers,
building this,
and you
robust
joined,
network of
and
commerce
you stuck it through.
creating,
Boom.
creating manufacturing hubs and whatnot.
It's nice.
Ironically enough,
Trying to manifest that
it would
GTO.
still take at least 5 to 10 years to build
That's funny.
the
There you
underlying
go.
infrastructure
Yeah,
necessary
it's a way to do it.
to become
Buy the toy
a
version.
manufacturing hub in this country. They're not doing that because you want to know who was doing that, but
Yep.
also doing
God,
it
I
in
seen
a
how road trading
neoliberal
was done.
fashion.
So glad I came through
Joe
for him.
Biden.
See, I need you to come through with the
That's the
skateboarding now. I
irony
need you to
here.
help me out.
Joe Biden with the CHIPS Act and Joe Biden with like Build Back Better was a watered down version
So bad at
of
trading and
what
just
is
lost.
necessary for Trump to do if he were to bring back manufacturing to the United States of
I gotta
America.
tell you, I'm really.
Both fall short of what is
I
necessary.
like that the
however,
volatility pushed us on the lower time frame
both
because
are the classic
the lower time
American
frame does have some pretty good
bind
setups.
of doing a public-private partnership rather than building all of this stuff ahead of time with government expenses and just controlling these key sectors, maintaining the control over these key sectors in the hands of the government with a federal jobs program,
Speaking
with a
of-
federal jobs guarantee.
Twice today,
This would require tremendous.
we were up like $200 and didn't take it because we were barely in and it's holding the trade. So when it comes to holding trades, I think tomorrow is going to be more of a take what I can get type of day. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be one of those days.
That's it.
And maybe even just moving forward, take the
That's it.
$200-300, keep it walking, you
It
know?
took China, a country with tremendous control over its
Meth.
economy,
What?
decades to get to
What
this
is
point.
wrong
Now,
with this
China's
chat?
internal
Oh, they
conditions
got
are different
clipped.
than the United
The
States of
mods
America,
clipped
of
that
course.
one quick.
We are a wealthier country, but there are some disadvantages there to being a wealthier country in terms of like building shit as fast as possible. But capital ownership and control over the government is calcified in this country, they will not stand by and allow any leadership to just say, oh, no, you're done. It's over. Your super profits are done. We are now working on building the American industrial base. It's going to be a decade of prosperity. They won't do that. They'll just assassinate you.
Facts are facts. Look at his dog in the background.
Seems to imagine itself when the Secretary of the Treasury added to Mr. Trump's comments that he warned the rest of the world not to retaliate.
Speaking of,
that
let me
would
go.
Imply that if they do, there would be escalation.
Free Milo.
Yes, he said, there will be escalation. Well, nothing will guarantee more escalation than if they do nothing, because then it's an invitation to Mr. Trump to keep doing it as each of these efforts doesn't work.
Given how dramatic this was yesterday, is it possible he was deciding this to the very last second as they put this off? And explain exactly. You're a professor, you're a teacher. Most people don't even realize how tariffs work.
Okay. A tariff is a tax. It's just a particular tax that got that name. It used to be called import duty. All it means is when something comes into the United States that was produced outside and is brought in to be sold, it has to pay a tax, as literally as it crosses our border into our country. It is paid by the American company that brings it in, which may pass it on to the consumer, usually what happens, and the tax goes to Uncle Sam. It goes to Washington. Mr. Trump loved to suggest that tariffs were paid by the others, a little bit like Mexico would pay for the wall. Never happened. It's not going to happen here either. It's an American tax.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, remember when he wanted to build the wall and he was like, I'm going to make Mexico pay for it? Bro. How are you going to make another country pay for something you want? What? What? That's a good point.
Initiatives.
Is it seized? Yeah, green tea.
Richard Wolff is not
jasmine green tea.
A defender of free trade principles. He's not a defender of neoliberal economics. He's just explaining to you what is going to happen. That's it. And he's correct. This is going to happen. It's important for you to understand.
Chat, we've been on for like almost 2 hours. Oh my goodness. I didn't even realize.
Like reading the tea leaves. Factually describing systems as neoliberalism. Some chatters are too brain broken to be allowed to type. Exactly. Factually describing.
Don't mind me looking this way. I'm going to be on Twitter for a little bit. See if I can find some other things.
What is happening and what will happen. He is a Marxian economist, chatters.
This is that the Republican Party, which has branded itself as the anti-tax party for a century, is now imposing the most massive tax imaginable. Why this big change? Because we have big, big problems, and this kind of slapping the rest of the world is an attempt to solve a little bit of them. But
the new iPhone may cost $2,000 because of the new tariffs.
I want to go to UAW President Shawn Fain, who supports Trump's new tariffs, saying last week, we applaud the Trump administration for stepping up to end the free trade disaster that's devastated working class communities for decades. Fain spoke Sunday on CBS's Face the Nation.
We've seen over 90,000 manufacturing facilities leave the United States. We've seen in the big three alone in the last 20 plus years, 65 plants have closed. And so, look, tariffs aren't the total solution. Tariffs are a tool in the toolbox.
This is very important for people to understand. Just
everything's
like
made in China.
Rent control is not a solution.
Just deporting them.
Rent control is simply a tool in the toolbox.
You know, there's people who are getting deported and labeled as criminals who aren't actually criminals. Like someone just... Like one of them was like a teacher, like a school teacher who's been working here for like over 20 years. Like well-known sweet lady, sweet at the church, sweet school teacher. And they put her and along with others who aren't criminals with the criminals in the criminal prisons. Bro, do you know how many people, like you gotta really imagine like your mom right now getting deported and put into prison. because they're just grouping her with some of the other criminals. They don't even do research. It's just, oh, you're a brown person. Oh, bye. Gone. Kicking you out, sending you back to your country, putting you in prison. Like, bro, there's so many people, so many innocent people in prison right now who got deported. It's scary, chat. Again, I know you're not affected, but just, you know, I know some people who, you know, their mom got taken away. And just imagine right now if, for some reason, if your mom wasn't born in this country, and if they took your mom away right now, just because she just wasn't born here and boom. And she's been working here, paying her taxes for over 20 years. You know what I mean? Just like that perspective, like, come on, not everybody's a criminal. You know what I mean? It's sad.
He also said he had great concerns about President Trump's move to eliminate contracts for 700,000 federal workers, the firing of workers.
But now you see why we don't really talk about this too much on stream. I try to segue against it because it could be tough to talk about these subjects. No one wants to talk about negativity, right? But you know, that's why it's important to laugh when we can make jokes out of this. You know what I mean? And that's why we're having a separate stream, because if we just talked about this the whole stream, as you could see, we would never trade. We'd be so distracted.
You have to pay that tax now, and that will lead to domestic producers.
You know, this is important things. There's a lot of big stuff going on
because their competitors
right now
from abroad are stuck with this tax. So we expect
one thing to be in denial,
inflation,
but
which is
no, this is
we're
not
all
internal
adults now,
union
so
politics.
we need to
within
be
the
up to date.
UAW.
You know,
You're wrong. No, this is a union leader who does stand to benefit from the boosting of domestic manufacturing of cars, especially.
By the way, those who entered my giveaway, the giveaway will be closed soon.
On principle,
if you're in a restricted country, I did take your entry away. Just a heads up.
Which has
if you're in South Africa, Nigeria,
and its manufacturing capabilities.
You know, countries that are aren't allowed at Take Profit Trader, I can't give you the giveaways. So
he's hitting on like
just a heads up. I did take away your entries.
Aspect of Donald Trump's administration and talking about that positively as though
just
that has anything to do with the material.
And those trying to butcher their entries and trying to use different browsers to keep entering, I could see everything. Just a heads up.
And it's also
so you know.
Incorrect, I think. His assessment, I think, is
or trying to clear your history and enter the next day.
His assessment is not going to be true in the long
run. Or enter from a different name. I know. I can see it all.
Hurt the working class of this country in a very serious way, especially
trying to get the Apex payout. Let's go, Ian. You got this.
Often happens.
You got this.
Like this.
You got
this.
This
is important. This is another aspect of this that's important because hey,
speaking of.
What? Trump could
Sorry,
also
I'm just going to pause
implement.
This. With Apex, you know how people keep buying 20 accounts, 10 accounts, 5 accounts at the same time? You know, they film, do it again, you get a payout, maybe eventually lose the account, get them again, cool. The thing is every time you're buying new accounts with Apex, there's no incentive, but what Take Profit Trader's doing is they're keeping track of the points of how many times you're purchasing, rebuying, how many times you got a payout. All those things add up to points and you can get free accounts with Take Profit Traders. So I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, which is kind of cool, right? Because you're like, shit, I bought this thing like 10 times, but at least that could earn you at least half off of a new one or at least a free one. Or you could earn like a free reset. The easiest things to earn on the reward system is a free reset or a free account. Just saying. I think that's pretty cool what they're doing. So,
trade.
Did anybody know that? Let me know in the chat if you didn't know that. We'll talk about it more on
What about the developing world? Please don't come in here with.
But I think that's pretty cool.
Organization assessments.
Because it sucks to spend $1,000 on challenges and then you're like, well, shit, I didn't beat anything, I didn't get no payout, and then at least you have, at least you can earn yourself a free account.
Global
you know, because people spend thousands on Apex and they're not getting no free account.
Has actually boosted.
People spend over $5,000 on Apex in a couple months. And you get no free account.
Policies have actually yielded tremendous bounty is fucking
Free reset's
China.
nice.
That is the reason why.
Yeah, no
that's
idea.
the entire reason why Trump is trying to break free trade agreements right now.
How many
they've become
accounts
a
can you total?
competitor
5.
To the United States of America.
5 accounts.
And the only reason why China was able to do that is
Big
not
5.
because of the foreign capital entering the marketplace, but instead because they took all of that bounty and engaged in even development and rapid urbanization. No, I'm not going to say India. Are you crazy? India is the greatest example of it not actually working. The reason why it worked in China is not because
Not them
money
saying
came into
India
China.
after he
It's
just
because
said
of
that.
central planning. It's that simple.
Chat
You'd
trying
make
to
a
piss
good
him
teacher
off.
for children who like
People
being
spamming
bullied.
India after he said that. They're still spamming it.
And no, it didn't help in
Yo,
Mexico either.
they
It
are
literally
so
didn't help in
funny.
Mexico until
They're
recently.
still saying India.
Because if you don't have redistributive policies in the nation that is in the nation that's receiving all of this foreign capital, if you don't have a solid approach, if you don't have an approach that has a long-term development project in mind with redistributive policies that focuses on building infrastructure, you don't actually have the Chinese prosperity. Mexico's rise in the last decade comes from Morena, the Morena party, changing a previous longstanding Mexican policy that didn't do that. The examples that you can use are China or Vietnam, and China and Vietnam, to varying degrees, have similar approaches to this.
And I want to remind everyone, including Sean Fain, that the auto workers also represent workers in places that need export markets, that produce in America and sell abroad. When those countries retaliate, as they likely will, we will lose export markets, and that will mean fewer jobs.
Important to remember, China did it while still creating a rich elite class. It's not like they did communism. Every single person, especially in the Xi Jinping period,
I'm
the
freaking
rich
dead.
elite class in China is no different than the idea of like owning your own land in China. It's on a government lease, okay? All of your wealth as a rich elite class member in China, especially since the anti-corruption initiative set forth by Xi Jinping in the last decade, is just simply the government's money that you're holding on to. It's like saying, "Hey, let me get a whiff of that $1 billion, please." That's it. And there are many examples of the government coming in and seizing your assets. It's no different than the 100-year mortgage that everyone has. Not a mortgage, but like all land is owned by the government. Okay? It is collectively owned in China.
That is true.
When you purchase a home in China, you don't pay property taxes, but you get a 100-year lease, and they usually extend that lease. Obviously, they don't fucking seize it after the 100-year lease is over. Similar structure in Singapore as well. Singapore has other issues on top of that, though, especially with like immigrant labor forces and the two-tier citizenship structure that they have that resembles almost like the UAE slavery.
Trying to change the thumbnail chat.
Slave immigration structure. But I'm not going to get into all of that. I'm simply saying in China, all of the super wealthy and the wealth that they've accrued, especially under Xi Jinping, because this changed a little bit, is directly still controlled by the government. This is precisely the reason why companies like BYD are not operating at the behest of profit margins and improving their profit margins, but can take the initiative, take government subsidies, and offer incredibly low-cost alternatives to the pre-existing domestically manufactured vehicles in European markets. If they were hyper-focused on profits, then they wouldn't be able to do that. They wouldn't be able to sell you EVs, for example, for like $15,000. They'd be like, what the fuck do you mean? This is an incredibly costly vehicle to make.
It can't.
And no one, let me stress, no one now knows whether the jobs lost from this trade
When I was in Malaysia. What's up, Bridget? When I was in Malaysia, I went on a date with a Chinese mainlander. She'd been living alone in her apartment since 13. Her parents bought an apartment and left her herself.
It'll be very bad for
Really?
the American economy. It will produce the recession folks are worried about, because if the
Talk
prices
about raising
go up,
yourself,
people
huh?
buy less, and that loses jobs.
Yeah.
When you look at all of this,
That's
this
brutal.
is an incredibly risky
Welcome in, y'all.
effort
We've
to blame
had
the world,
like a
punish the
2-hour
world,
stream.
and then cross his fingers, which is what he's
It's been an
doing,
interesting stream.
hoping it comes out all
been
right.
pretty interesting.
Reminds me of the football
Do you have any
metaphor.
questions?
This is a Hail Mary.
About the tariffs or the CME limits for trading today and tomorrow or anything like that, please let me know in the chat. I know we discussed it already, but I don't mind
Help the cheap
reviewing
supply
it.
chain. It's not
So
because
let me
they're
know what you want me
anti-profit.
to review.
No. My
Perfectly
point is,
fine.
America also heavily subsidizes all of its key sectors. Why is it that America cannot demand lower profits in return for heavy subsidization, whereas China can? Because
Feel free to
the
use me as a
Chinese government,
podcast,
let's
y'all.
say, wants to enter by force European car markets. Okay, they want to destabilize the European car markets. America can't do that with Ford in the way that China can do that with BYD. That's my argument. They can say, yeah, you're gonna take a much narrower profit margin when you enter the European marketplaces. Okay? Subsidies just replace profits in ways the U.S. won't. That's not true. Subsidies always replace profits. Subsidies also play a role in the profit margins for American manufacturing. What are you talking about? That's what a subsidy is. A subsidy is supposed to make it cheaper for you to produce the fucking good. My point is, BYD can't go, we're going to erroneously increase the price of these fucking markets because they are still operating at the behest of
What's the CME limits? I missed it. Got you, Ian. I think she must have come from.
Whereas when America does this,
I got you, Ian. I'm just changing the thumbnail for tomorrow. Just give me like 5 seconds.
The government controls the corporations. In America.
So yeah, so for the CME limits, especially if you trade with Topstep, I'm gonna pull up this email here. They sent out an email maybe about an hour after I ended stream. This one's gonna say my name because it's directed to me. But it's basically letting you know, hey, when the market falls below a certain price point, certain percentage, that means there's a lot of volatility in the market. For it to fall that much in one day, aka NASDAQ fell 4.5% today. That's a lot for NASDAQ. Okay, to do that in one day. So because of the high volatility, they have limits, and it just basically saying, hey, we're not going to allow you to trade because volatility is just crazy. Like, no, this isn't realistic conditions to trade in. So for the limits, you can click this link, and I'm not logged in, but I'll log in a second and I'll bring up the price limits so you can see it. You can click this link here, and Topstep has the price limits there so you can see it for every pair. Okay, now when the market closes today, the CME is going to release new limits for tomorrow. Okay, so remember, tomorrow is NFP, but also we got this stuff going on right now that we're reacting to with the tariffs. There's a bunch of stuff going on right now. So we got that going on too. So they are going to release new limits for tomorrow, and Topstep is going to review that. At some point, you should see an email. I don't know if you're going to get it tonight, but definitely by the morning. By the time I come on stream tomorrow, you probably already got an email for Topstep for what the limit is going to be for tomorrow. And if we hit that limit again tomorrow, guarantee you they're going to cut off trading on XFA and live accounts again. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Is that a good summary for you? That's a good summary, right? Let me know if you have any other
And as long as
questions
the government
about
has
that.
an interest in entering these
And
marketplaces
we're going to
with
talk about it tomorrow
much
morning on
more
stream too.
affordable alternatives,
We're going to talk about it.
they will follow suit because it is not operating in the
Got a lot
normal
to talk about
capitalist
tomorrow.
dynamic. companies are not operating.
You can blow your
in the
account,
way
yeah.
that
Yep, you can blow your
capitalist
account.
corporations operate
But
in the United States of
my
America
thing
and in the
is
Western world.
they're still allowing combines to be traded. It's like, if we're going to do realistic market conditions, cut that off too. But maybe there's something in the rules because it's a challenge. I don't know.
This is no different
But
than
if you
looking
have a
at
combine, I
ghost
guess you
cities
can
and being
trade it.
like, lol, these guys just want to
Which I
improve their
wouldn't do
GDP
anyway
by building
because
these fucking stupid ghost
do what you do in
cities. And then you
practice
go,
in the
oh
game,
my
right?
God, it turns out they weren't ghost cities.
You wouldn't
Turns out
trade
there's
your live
people living
account,
there
don't trade
now.
the combine, right?
It doesn't make sense in the short term because you're operating with narrow thinking. You're operating within a capitalist framework.
Let me pull up the emails so I can show you all the limit
For
prices.
China and the Chinese state.
By the way,
all
to
they care
those with an
about is the
Elite
interests of
membership,
China.
we will be reviewing
And for them,
tonight
they
during
will
Asian
use
session.
capitalism
The
to
market,
their advantage. That
the
is
New
what they
York
do.
session, we will be reviewing. It's going to be interesting.
And using capitalism to your advantage means that you're not gonna work on maximizing profit. You're gonna work on maximizing
Oh no, I think I'm
market
signed
dominance.
into the wrong
Governments
email.
like the CCP have complex multivariable goals and interests.
That's not my
Companies only care about
topstep
growth and
email.
profit. Because the CCP controls its companies, they can operate with a more long-term minded objective than companies here in America are capable of. Exactly. Therein lies the problem with capitalism. It forces everyone to
Here's the
engage in
email. Okay,
short-term
let's
thinking
see.
because you only think in quarterly earnings.
Okay, here's the price limits that Topstep sent out. So if you click that link in the Topstep email, it's going to bring you to the CME Group website. And right here are all the future contracts. We got Dow Jones, we got E-mini, Russell. Everything is here. All the minis and pretty much everything here and their price limits. So like I said, it'll be updated after the market closes for tomorrow. So yeah, just look out for a new email. That's what I would do.
Or even DARPA creating the internet.
Trade with caution.
Heavily subsidized.
How do the limits apply? Number of trades, number of contract. That's a great question. I've never had to deal with this or deal with this, but I think it's by
to be thrown at this project.
the limit is by, I believe it's by the price.
That has accelerated humankind in really meaningful ways have only come from.
But I believe that
public
all
sector for
trading
this
is
reason.
cut off.
Because you have the opportunity to fail
search
over
that. I
and
believe
over
all
again
trading is
because you
cut
have a
off for
larger
most
project,
especially
in
like
mind.
regulated brokers. Let me
Whether
just
it is
recheck that.
whether it is obviously an
I don't
invention
think
that will
anyone's
allow you
allowed
to
to.
surveil people better,
Yeah, 2% limit threshold.
or any
Yeah, they
number of
may
different
just
things like
auto
the
liquidate
snakes
you.
race.
I think all brokers are following that. Let me see.
A lot of things we misunderstand. A lot of things that China does in the West because we think like, oh, this doesn't make sense from our narrow focus. We look at it and we go, why
Let me
would they
see.
build high-speed rail like this?
Yeah, so regulated brokers are
it's not
obligated
profitable. It's
to
gonna collapse
follow those
eventually.
limits as well.
Because
So
it's not supposed
yeah,
to be
I
profitable.
think everyone will liquidate you then.
That's not the only measure of
Oh,
building
with the
out a
combine, I
network
don't
that
think
is
there's any limits with the
self-sustaining.
combine. It has to do with an XFA or a live account.
You know what else is not
I guess you're free to
profitable?
trade your
Our fucking highway
combine.
system. But we built it anyway, and we built it for cars. You know what else is not profitable? The U.S.
Oh, I
Postal
see what you're
Service.
saying. Yeah,
But
you're
it's
not using
supposed to
live
be
live
profitable.
money.
It's
Yeah,
supposed to be a service.
yeah, that makes sense. But I'm
How
saying
in
if they
your
want
view is
to,
China distinct from
if they're
post-war Keynesian
simulating
consensus
real
besides the
trading
role of government control
environments,
over
then they should
corporations?
just
That's a
cut that
key
too.
factor.
But
And also,
yeah,
no fucking private ownership in that regard. Even if it
crazy that
looks
they're
like
just
a
shutting
private
down trading
ownership
because the markets are
exists
crashing.
in on paper,
God freeze when COVID hit.
that gives a lot of opportunity to the government. That gives a lot of
Well,
movement to the government.
it's really the volatility part, not so much because it's crashing, but it's how much it crashed in a small amount of time. So if it crashes a certain amount in a small amount of time, then yeah,
Into your team's
they're going to put
hands,
limits on.
But that's all it is, a long shot. And it's a sign of how.
Well, the other thing is they do want to keep you trading
now.
because
China as a one-party strongman country is limited. Once the
you
leader
got to
dies,
think
the
about it.
future is
People are trading
uncertain.
their
This
own
is also
live
wrong.
account.
For every other
People
country
put
that has
all
been
their
led by
savings
a
in there, all the
single-party
profits they
strongman,
made from trading
you're
in
not
there, you
wrong.
know, and
A
if
great example of this
a
is
lot of people
Chavez.
empty that,
Okay,
then that's a lot of
look at
people who aren't
Venezuela
going to be
now.
trading, and that's a problem.
China, on the other
You
hand,
know, you
does
got a
not
bigger
have the
problem on
same
your
issue.
hands.
While yes, Xi Jinping is
That's why TopStep's goal is to get you to the live account and to help you with fundamentals of risk management and discipline right now, because we need the newer traders. The CEO is right at TopStep. We do need the newer traders to move into live accounts as well, not just trade prop firms. Because when the older generation of traders pass away or go, well, who the hell's moving the market? You know what I mean? So we do need, yes, prop firms are popular. It's the most popular thing, but we also need people to get into the real market too, not just trade prop firms. So I like what they're doing. Because they're really saving trading.
sure there is still
They're saving.
centralized command at the top of it.
Yeah,
but
they're saving trading for
constantly
sure.
getting endless amounts of feedback from this vast
People may not see that now, but
of local,
if we just keep prop
local
form
representatives
galore,
that get
no one's
together
ever going to go to a
and
live
make
account, you know?
that are directly
Everybody
what-
trading props to live
what
accounts.
the people that
Mhm.
voted them to into positions of power want.
So
out
I
of
like
them.
what they're doing, kind of mixing both and encouraging you to eventually,
a
okay, get the
robust
big
party
payouts and then
infrastructure
move
to
on to your
replace
own,
Xi
you know,
Jinping.
live account. It's good what they're doing.
Ultimately, the Chinese government and the Chinese party, input is not power. The people need bargaining power. Dude, look, man, that's great. I don't
Wait, he
disagree
banned
with you,
him?
but input is power.
Why does it
First
say
of all,
unban?
you're wrong about
Click
that.
to unban. Why is the guy? I didn't know you can do that. So you can click on, or he's using some type of app here. You can click on the person's thing. The person's been subscribed for 7 months too. Paying subscriber. Oh my goodness. Wow, and you can just see their messages as they're like arguing with you. That is crazy.
That want this endless faucet of
That's
of
crazy.
money
I didn't know
and
you could do that.
destruction, that is going to fucking Israel to stop, to be put to an end. Do you think they'll listen? It's been 1.5 years. Have they listened? Fuck no. What do you mean?
The kid. And then he bans him.
If you can put this in the bigger picture, talk about the tax cuts.
Bro,
and how
Hasan
they
is
fit into-
hilarious, man. He will screenshot your comment. He will pull your comment up real quick, argue with you, ban you, drink his drink, and continue on saying what he's got to say.
Where's Israel how? It's not. The overwhelming majority of Americans wanted a ceasefire. Joe
He banned
Biden
this person
literally
too, Apollo.
wanted Israel to continue doing death and destruction so much that he dropped the ball spectacularly. Kamala Harris followed suit and
You're not
lost
going
the
to tell me
election.
the majority aren't brainwashed.
You're going to tell me the majority of people aren't brainwashed? No, they're brainwashed in different ways, but they're brainwashed into thinking that, for example, American liberal democracy represents their interests. Good luck getting a fucking robust socialized healthcare network, you know?
Bro, the fact that you can ban someone and then pull up their messages and still argue with them is crazy. I got to figure out what app that is.
benefits. And
This
then
is
talk about
hilarious.
the other issues that
He's
President
flaming.
Trump keeps saying that they're not going to touch, even though what many call his co-president, Elon Musk, whether he steps
this
back
is
from
different.
being, giving
I'm
speeches
gonna head out and go walk
or
the dog.
not,
See you tomorrow.
going
See
after
you, Ian.
Social
Thanks for
Security
coming
issues
through.
like Medicaid.
Have a good
Let
day.
me start with the tax issue. The biggest
He's got the
single thing that
smiley
Trump did in
basketball.
his first presidency was the tax cut of December 2017.
Tough.
And when
That's
that tax
tough.
cut was written into law, it had a sunset. It expires this year, 2025. If that expiration is allowed to happen, corporations and the rich,
Who's the
who were
streamer?
the big
Oh, this is Hasan.
beneficiaries back then, will face a big.
Hasan has there's 45,000 people watching this. That's crazy. Hasan has millions of followers on Twitch and YouTube. He streams every day. But yeah, Hasan,
as we have been doing.
Right down here.
He doesn't want to be the president who keeps borrowing trillions, in part because the rest of the world is a major creditor of the United States, and they're
Hasan's
not going
been streaming for years, every day.
So he's in a jam. He has to do something. So his hope is to savage the expenditures in this country. Look what he's doing. Mr. Musk stands there with a chainsaw to give us the clear implication. I'm going to solve the problem on the backs of the working class. I'm firing them all.
Ian just left. Ian used to watch him. Ian said he used to be a subscriber of him.
All these people without notice, without plan. Calling this efficient is a silly joke.
It is tough.
An efficient
to look at the state of the world and react to this every day for hours. It can be. I'm sure it's mentally draining for him as well. I wonder what he does before stream and what he does after stream, because it's definitely tough to talk about these type of politics, and it's just sad, you know. People don't want to face it, and you know, I don't blame people at all. I mean, this is tough stuff to talk about.
There is no way other than the one he's doing, because it's the last
I wonder what he does
gasp of
after
how to
stream.
take away
He
from
definitely
the mass
has
of
to
the
do
people.
something.
Read my last comment. China operates under different incentives, but is definitely often not long term. I disagree with that.
And when I
statement.
started this stream, he had just went live, and you know
most
he go live for
significant
hours,
difference.
so he just getting started for today.
Unless you think that, look, there's only two things that you can make assessments on here. Either Xi Jinping has the heavens mandate, okay, and he lucked in to all of this, and the
There's
Communist Party of
40,000
China
people here, chat.
also has the
Oh
heavens
my
mandate,
goodness.
and they lucked in.
It's a lot
to
of
this
people.
level of development and rapid urbanization.
Like a lot of people,
Or
guys. A
they
lot of
actually
people
keeping
watching.
long-term interests in mind, especially in comparison to the United States of America, that doesn't even make yearly plans. They make plans quarter by quarter, as opposed to 15-year plans they're trying to implement.
So right here, this is someone he banned, and he's pulling up their comments and
No, I
responding
agree.
to
They have
them.
benefits, but often they build cities and infrastructure for the sake of having jobs for people. Wait, what?
Be banning people every 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I don't know how to respond to that.
Oh, they're responding.
Not only are you describing long-term plans and that benefit in the short term as well, but you're objectively wrong. I just described the concept of ghost cities. It's ridiculous. It's not real. Ghost cities are not real. They become real cities. Saying that in 2025 is kind of silly. They look like ghost cities because they're urban planning 5 to 10, if not 15 years ahead. Stop eating and talking at the same time. I'm not eating and talking at the same time. I'm not eating at all. What are you talking about?
The ability to borrow.
Someone said stop eating and talking at the same time. And he's not even eating.
In half an hour, I'm going to have Congressperson
You know they
Casar
got
from
banned.
Text
You know he's
35
petty. You know
on
they
the
got
podcast.
banned.
We're going to talk about the tariffs. We're going to talk about the future of the Democratic Party and how the
Stop
Democrats
eating and
must fight.
talking at the same time.
Just letting y'all know.
Expensive.
And then we'll continue this coverage
means
today.
people will buy less of it. They'll shrink.
I'm
their
convinced they
standard
try to
of
get
living.
banned on purpose
If
so he can pull them up.
Companies take advantage of the tariff.
My stream's blurry, that's why I can't see the writing. Oh, okay, let me type it in chat for you.
Hurt the working class. You are immiserating your workers in order to try to solve the problem you
There you
haven't
go.
solved before.
You can look them up on
But here's
YouTube,
the
on
irony
Twitch.
that may in the end come back to haunt us. Europe has been unable to unify.
Speaking
under the
of,
umbrella of American
I ordered something from
alliances.
Amazon last week, and I don't even think it ever came
The
in.
United States is bringing Europe together better than the alliance was able to do. And as you pointed out, very
You mean
important,
sorry, we're having
China,
trouble showing
Japan, and
orders.
South
Y'all have an
Korea,
issue with
long
Amazon?
histories of animosity and
Is there something wrong with
tension,
Amazon?
are getting together to cope with this. Wow, we are.
How come the app doesn't load right?
I'm moving on from this. How is China responding to Trump's tariffs? U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports to total at least 50%.
A glimpse inside China's fast fashion workshops is rare. Places that cut and stitch and
Am I
steam
logged
for a living.
out?
Thousands of items a day, fast, cheap, and destined for America.
What the heck?
This type of operation has undercut U.S. manufacturing.
Wait, hold on. Bradley, I'm live right now. I'm live right now. They can hear you.
Yeah, he told me to. I just did a pod with Steiny. He said call Hasan. We didn't know you were live.
Oh yeah, no, I'm always live. You already know.
8 hours on.
I'm gonna do Steiny's pod soon. Next week when I'm back.
Oh, is that Bradley Martin on the phone?
This weekend.
I think we gotta have Brad there, Hasan.
Okay, I'm down. I'm down to have Bradley there. He can moderate. He can be the moderating voice.
Yeah.
He already told me. He already told me he's a broke boy now. Trump cooked him. Trump cooked his net worth.
I'm broke.
No, bro, you gotta be broke too. I'm broke too. I'm not gonna lie. I lost.
Yeah, what happened? I thought Trump was bringing prosperity to America. What's going on, guys?
It's a long-term game. You know this.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we can talk about that. We can talk about that.
Are you broke too now?
Messages about items in your cart.
Hasan, all your money's in. You got all the crypto money.
No, I don't.
So I was just signed out of Amazon. What the heck?
Crypto markets are tanking.
Yeah, they're all fucked.
I make my money off of Twitch subs, which all of you can subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime.
Yeah, he's good at it, man.
Yeah.
It's too good. He's too good. I might actually subscribe.
What?
Well, I gotta go. I'm talking about.
They left it at the lockers?
Yeah, I texted Bradley this morning. I was like, what's going on?
Hold on, chat. They delivered my package to the wrong thing. Hold on.
He's cooking.
I gotta go get my package.
He goes, yeah,
I'll be right back. What the heck? Where someone takes my package?
Yeah. I dropped 10 gifted in this economy. Misfit Sharky. Hype Train, level 2 G. Look, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Decoy 166, thank you for the 5 gifted. That's right. You can also get a gifted a sub in this economy if you don't have. Bradley is Bradley Martin. He just did a podcast with Steiny, who wants me to go on his podcast as well. And I said I would do it. Look at the Republicans screaming bloody murder. Oh, my God. Oh, tariffs are a tax on consumers. It is. What happened? Why didn't you say this before Trump said he was going to do the tariff regime, baby?
For years, and it's now vulnerable.
VIX just hit 30. The trading bots are going to pull billions in the next 2 hours.
Workshops are based on streets like this. Places that just feel ill-equipped to withstand what's coming. At least 54% taxes on all goods sent to America. Trade at that price is almost impossible. A massive...
L Hasan for Steiny. Wait, what? LLU Hasan, why? Fuck you mean? What? He wanted me to go on his podcast. You think I'm going to say no to a person that says, hey, come talk to my audience about your worldview? If you think I would ever say no to that, you don't understand this entire project. I will go anywhere and everywhere and talk to anyone, unless they're like a fucking straight up neo-Nazi or some shit. Steiny is one of the Nelk boys. Hasan, you're such a bitch. Okay.
Market wiped out overnight. Their only answer, for now, we must look elsewhere.
Other places might have better business opportunities, right? For instance, Africa is always good. Anyone can survive without relying on just one other country.
At the end of the day, workers pour from the factories. The people really at risk. Millions here could be put out of work in an economy already struggling. Adverts for short-term contracts are a reminder. Many don't even have a stable job to lose. China has already vowed to respond. Earlier restraint now feels unlikely.
The unilateral tariff hikes by the US violate WTO rules, harm the common interests of people of all countries.
By the way, this is also true. It does violate WTO rules, but as we read from Project 2025, My cousin is using the Bashar God Syria song for you. Check logs. Update for you regarding your CNN piece. What do you mean? What are you doing? Are you working against me? She's asking if there's a song in particular you'd like to use in the intro of the segment. I suggested Syria Bashar God, like the old intro song you had. Are you fucking stupid? This guy is literally working against me, dude. No, don't use that fucking song. All right, god damn it. Let me finish this fucking piece. All right, anyway. They're trolling you, Law? Yeah. Okay, listen to me. Project 2025 is clear on this. The other side of this, aside from like decoupling America and it's trying to claw back America's manufacturing capabilities away from China, the other side of this argument is that America does not like the World Trade Organization and wants to rebuild it. They want to undermine WTO, especially with this favored nations clause, favored nations that China is also a part of, and rebuild something anew that does not give even a fraction of benefits to China. They want to rebuild global trade in their vision because China has been able to take advantage of.
All right, I'm back, y'all. Sorry, I had to get my package for someone takes it.
And do not help solve the problems of the US itself. It is clear to everyone that more and more.
And yes, ironically enough, just like this chatter is correct, by the way, even though we disagree from time to time, he is.
Whoever it was did not bring it to my door this time for some reason.
A lot of the things that Donald Trump is doing
Let's see
are,
what this looks like, chat.
Enough, continuations of long-standing American foreign policy and American trade policy, like Barack Obama, following Barack Obama's initiative. Now, this is shocking.
Threw my hat on because the wind is crazy outside today.
And very publicly fucking undermined Barack Obama's foreign policy, like the Iran denuclearization agreement. Having said that, however, Barack Obama is the initial president that demanded that Europe spend a higher percentage. Europe spend a higher percentage of their GDP on defense, on NATO. Donald Trump simply followed that Obama promise, which is precisely the reason why Joe Biden did not revoke that and continued with the Trump NATO has to spend more for their own defense perspective. Barack Obama also kneecapped WTO in 2016, and it is correct. You're not wrong about that. U.S. has not allowed judges, exactly. Ever since 2016, the U.S. has refused to allow judges to be appointed to the World Trade Organization.
These things away.
Joe Biden never went back on it. Trump never went back on it either, because this is...
Well, I hope you're enjoying today's stream. This was actually way more enjoyable than I thought it would be.
Or American trade policy revolves around.
Don't want to leave you on a bad note with all this news.
China at the stage of global trade since the Barack Obama.
But it is important to know what's going on in the world as traders and just as people who live in the world.
They are starving the WTO. They've been starving the WTO and depriving it of its influence and power, only so they can turn around and
I'm about to be out of my tea.
See, it's a feckless institution that only works at the behest of China.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Something anew. Ironically enough, I think
that
is also short-sighted for someone like Donald
parents
Trump,
usually
because of the bully ball that Trump plays.
Don't tell you this because it's not. It's not a good feeling to know all these things, you know.
To rebuild a new.
It makes you worry. Nobody wants to worry or be full of anxiety.
However, this is literally
worry and anxiety will push out your manifestations, you know.
Bar for bar in Project 2025. It is straight up in the fucking.
You want to be full of joy.
We read the pages.
And love.
I believe it was like directly at what, 783, page 783 from Project 2025, or somewhere around like 700 to 800. They openly state this. The WTO has never been able to form
okay, not everyone who pulls up is
US
banned. He can click ban or unban, I see.
The early 2000s.
Oh, well, ban isn't highlighted, though.
So this chatter is correct. even though we have our disagreements on China. That is the ultimate goal. The ultimate rich consume more, not regressive tax.
That person
tax is good.
been subscribed for 11 months.
Rich consume more, not regressive tax.
Now remember on Twitch, you pay to subscribe on Twitch. So people paying 11 months straight and arguing with them, that's kind of funny.
Macroeconomics understander.
It will kill your stress. Stress brings out illness. Yeah, that's yeah.
Tax.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you. No, you're definitely right. The rich famously eat more food. You said on non-essential goods, but in general, you're just wrong. You're objectively wrong. It's a regressive tax.
You're just wrong.
Not because the rich consume more than the poor.
You're just wrong.
It's a regressive tax because the poor make up. A flat tax across the board is always going to
be
I
may have to use that one. Nah, you were just wrong.
Net income from the
it's the way he said it. It's the delivery.
It's that simple. If you have
that's funny.
$10 million and you're paying the same fucking taxes as a guy who has $100,000, who do you think is paying a larger share of their overall income year over year?
Facts. That's a good point. That's a point right there. He said, if you have $1 million and you're paying the same amount of taxes as someone who makes $100,000, who's paying out more of what they make? How is it fair? How is it fair? That is a fact. Speaking.
Vietnam will hit especially hard. Many Chinese firms have relocated here to avoid American tariffs. Workarounds now not an option.
Authorities here now face a complex balancing act. Further escalation will be costly and they can ill afford it, but they don't want to be seen to be weak. Behind the scenes, frenzied negotiations are no doubt underway.
This looks like a movie.
Grand deal is not impossible, but even if one is reached, China will have
how come our news don't film like that? Our news just be like, they got the mic, they're outside, the wind is blowing, they got the hoodie on, they're like, action. Oh. All right, welcome back to Channel 3 News. They're just there, stand still. We got theatrics overseas. She's walking. It looks like a movie type of... What? She making it theatrical. How come our news don't look like that?
Exports account for a fifth of China's economy. An ability to produce and to sell has always been its superpower. It is a behemoth that
they don't even feel like the news.
The
like a
question
movie.
is, how quickly? Helen Ann Smith, Sky News, Beijing.
Sky News, Beijing. Well, I got to tune into Sky News. We got to be like Sky News.
That others are taking unfair advantage of the current rules. And I'm ready to support any efforts.
President of the European Commission. Bro, this is my first time seeing this lady, seeing her name. It's so crazy how other countries know who Trump is. They know who they know who everybody is. Other countries know everything about us, and we know nothing about them. Isn't that crazy? Unless we do our own research. We have to do our own research. I never seen her in my life. This is crazy. We learn something new every day, y'all.
Like, we all kind of deserve it.
Feel free to let me know in the chat if it's your first time seeing her.
Like, we have done a lot of fucking...
It's just so crazy. We can't even name one person.
South a little bit, you know. Shock
What's up, Brian?
Back home, that imperial
is what Trump is doing good for trading, though? Creating positivity.
I think there are certain...
Volatility. Well, him doing something good for trading doesn't mean that it's good for trading, because creating more homeless people and getting rid of the middle class and making everybody else homeless, then who's going to be trading? Who's going to be doing anything? Everyone's going to be on the street unless they're a multimillionaire. So as far as is what he's doing good for trading, I mean, that's irrelevant. Because at the end of the day, who's going to be trading? You know what I mean? If the economy goes to shit, nobody will be trading anything.
Okay.
So
I think that's what is.
That's the reality of it. The reality of it, if it's bigger than trading at this point, which is the problem.
That you're like, oh, right,
which is why we're having this stream. Because as of today, it became bigger than trading. This is
fucking dicking you.
This is scary.
Dicking you down.
You take away the middle class, then what? You're either going to be dead poor or you're going to be dead filthy rich. Gotta pick a side. And unfortunately, most of us don't have a way to choose. We're being forced into it, you know?
And last tool will not fix it.
Like I said, if you don't have multi-millions,
from the outset,
you, like myself, we're all being affected here. You don't have multi-millions, it's just GG's.
To remove the remaining barriers to transatlantic trade.
Hi, Sibo. What's up, Sibo?
At the same time,
thank you, Bridget. I see you there.
To respond. We are already finalizing the first package of countermeasures in response to tariffs on steel. And we're now preparing for further countermeasures to protect our interests and our businesses if negotiations fail. President Trump's announcement of universal tariffs.
Good luck negotiating with him.
Including the
Here's
European
the thing.
Union is
I like what she said. They're preparing measures in case negotiations fail. Here's the thing. I think the negotiation's going to fail because you can't negotiate with Trump. It's whatever he says. There's no negotiation. There's no, hey, well, can you see it my way? No, you only have to see it his way. Have you not seen this man? There's no negotiation with that man. It's whatever he says goes. Like I said, when he does a speech, they give him a briefing. He never follows the briefing he's supposed to be saying. He does what he wants to do. If he ain't following what they're telling him to say in speeches, you think he gonna follow you? Nope. Nope. It's gonna be whatever, you know?
Immediate concessions.
Dealing with a grown kid. It's his way or the highway. Why do you think you see all the people he fired when he got into office?
That's Europe.
Did you notice that it was all the people who were against him in some way, even if they were, and when I say against him, I don't mean, oh, they don't like him. I mean, it could be someone who voted against something he said. He got rid of all those people. Did you know that? See, I don't think y'all really know what's going on.
So we need collective solidarity.
Imagine getting rid of all the people who voted no against a policy that you wanted. That is so petty. Oh my God, that is so petty.
Funny thing about the EU trying to glad hand.
It's like you voted against my policies, so when I start laying off people, I'm just going to throw you in the mix too. It's crazy. Trump world, right? Exactly. He thinks he's king.
Also telling advisors they are not about setting up.
No, seriously, chat. He's running it as if this is back in the day where we had kings and queens. Did you hear that he wants to put his face on Mount Rushmore? Did y'all hear that last week? He's filing to put his face up on Mount Rushmore. Yes, he wants his face up on that rock. He thinks he's king. I can't make this up. He doesn't think he's president. He thinks he's king of the world, not king of America. He thinks he's king of the world. Ego imploded. No negotiation with that man.
Hilarious, because America doesn't want to play.
I'm just going off of what I see.
Now, what's interesting about this process?
He got to get back. Hi, Erica. Exactly. Yep. They didn't bow down to him, so he got to get his get back. Yep.
And how silly it is overall.
What's up, Erica?
What do I mean by this? First of all, Whirlpool to eliminate
this is what America wants.
Jobs in
Let me get this.
Iowa,
Don't get me
started.
Register.
So it's already
this is what they voted for.
But also,
he already changed the Gulf of Mexico name, didn't he? Yep. As if that was a priority, right?
Supposedly.
Yeah, change it to Gulf of America. Change all the history books in school.
They're talking about unfair trade practices,
bro,
trade barriers, and also
how is that important? You know what I mean? Like, how is that more important than what we got going on?
The Trump administration had made on its face as to why they decided that China.
We got people losing phenomenal jobs that they had left and right.
It turns out that wasn't even the calculation.
People who work,
that was simply the marketing for the calculation.
Work their butts off
the calculation actually
to just get laid off. No income, no nothing.
Potentially done through Chat GPT.
Yeah, they may be getting unemployment for a little bit, but it don't pay for all their bills.
Possible way to enact global trade policy.
It's like a slap in the face, you know. Go to 4K.
Tweet that we looked at yesterday of that.
What's up, Red? Hey, Lynn, always good to see you. Stuff getting sporty out here. What's up, Red? How's it going?
Is actually coming from
How's it going?
deficits and not actually
Yeah, things are getting crazy out here.
Calculations on like any sort of
We may have more of these
like
streams.
VAT or any sort of domestic tax policy that they're deciding.
I didn't
is a
plan on
tariff,
going
which is not,
live twice
regardless.
today, but
It's none of that.
this was just so important that, you know.
Just trade
And I thought it was going to be a short stream. I
numbers.
thought it was going to be a 30-minute stream. It's been 2 hours and a half, chat.
Cambodia has 97% tariff. No, Cambodia exports 12 billion. USA exports to Cambodia.
I gotta go be.
Million. 350 million divided
See
by
you,
12 billion
Bridget.
is 3%.
Blood pressure
100
getting
minus
high.
3, 97%. Do this for every tariff. No, what's even worse is literally the method that ChatGPT suggests. If you ask how to fix a trade deficit with tariffs, they ask ChatGPT how to fix the economy and then just fucking did whatever it said. I don't even know what to say. How can someone be so stupid? Edit to add on ChatGPT, the following prompt will immediately get you the method they used. If I wanted to even the playing field with respect to trade deficit with foreign nations using tariffs, how would I pick the tariff rates? Give me specific calculation. And by the way, they admitted it. It's not like this is something that they're sheltering. They fucking admitted it. New York Times confirms. The answer appears to begin with the total trade deficit America runs with its trading partners. That's it. Trade deficit with China, $291.9 billion. Imports from China, $433.8 billion, is equal to 0.6728 or 67%, or what the U.S. says China is charging us. That figure then divided by 2 is 34%, which is the new reciprocal tariff on China. It is baby brain.
Literally, that was literally his logic. That's why, remember, we were looking at that earlier and he had China up here for 60. He's claiming that China's taxing us 67%. Do you really think that China's taxing us 67%? Do you even think that? I don't think that. I honestly don't, but whatever. That's what they're saying. Imports for China. Is this true? But yeah, that's what they're claiming. They're claiming that that's how they got, they're taxing us 67%, so we're going to cut it in half and then we're going to tax them 34%. Like, so the plan is, we're cutting in half what people are taxing us. But there's no way I can literally believe that China is taxing us 67%. If that was a problem, it would have been a problem a long time ago. Am I wrong? Would that not have been called out a long time ago? Like, whoa, you're taxing us 67%. No. We got to negotiate. Am I wrong? Wouldn't that have been negotiated? So how are y'all pulling this number out of thin air? Y'all just going to choose two numbers and divide it? Come on. Facts, it's good to do this stream. We need to be aware. Thank you. Yeah. Yep. Especially tomorrow. Look, tomorrow, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but very scary. That's all I'm going to say. Very scary. It's unknown. NFP, more tariff talk tomorrow. Hey. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. All I know is that the CME said they're going to release a new limit for tomorrow when the market, the market closed. Oh shit, it's 222. Yeah, it's 222. Good luck to everyone who's on stream right now. Yeah, so the limit was released. So I'll see. I'll double check my email with Topstep, but yeah, there's a new limit for tomorrow.
The rest of the planet looks at,
let's see,
are fat, unwashed, stupid.
Honestly, I just want to be able to trade tomorrow and have a green day, and that's it.
Global trade and
that's
goes,
all.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do.
That's all I want tomorrow.
The alternative is Chinese. And
okay, let me see.
Of the Chinese. That's literally all that is happening here. Your European leaders.
Let's see if we can
find it. If you're in Europe and you're watching me right now, understand that they are literally going, well, on the one hand, we have these sweaty Amerifat
Did
morons,
Topstep send an update email?
And on the other hand,
yet.
we have Chinese people. And I'm scared of Chinese people, so I'm going to keep going with the fucking sweaty Amerifat morons that are dominating global trade.
No message yet from Topstep. They probably got to calculate the numbers first
That is the
before they send out an email.
motivating principle for why we are continuing along this trajectory. Let's see how far it goes. Incredible, dude. Incredible.
Just hopped on to 222. Let's go. Let's go.
Are the tariffs being used to cause a global recession with their hopes that it cements fascist regimes? No, that would mean long-term thinking. This is still, ironically, short-term thinking.
Are the tariffs being used to cause a global recession?
Suit on long-standing American trade policy.
Nah, they're not trying to cause a recession on purpose, although they kind of already did. We are in a recession. They're just not admitting it. We're in the recession right now, and they're trying to hold it off as if, because they're trying to hold the market off from crashing. Because if he says it, the market's going to crash. He hasn't said it yet.
For failure. It's destined
They've been
for
holding
a
it off.
major crash.
This is crazy. Got an email from Topstep about limits. Yeah, no, I meant an updated one. There's going to be a new limit for tomorrow.
Supply chains, we shouldn't have them all. We should have
like
them
an
all in the United
updated
States. We have the companies
limit.
to do it.
So we'll see. I'm sure they may send out another notification.
I'm telling you, man, Trump is Jusha. He
Tomorrow morning.
He loves the Kim dynasty. It's self-reliance time.
Chat is hilarious. This chat.
Oh. It's incredible. I am in awe.
People paying to get their message highlighted, and he's looking down.
Overheard in the newsroom. I just got something from a vanilla company. I guess 70% of the world's supply comes from Madagascar. We are going to have months and months worth of stories out of this. Hard to even know where to begin. Madagascar is now facing 47% tariffs. No more vanilla ice cream.
47% tariffs. How are they going to afford
People
that?
Support this have no idea of anything, yet they're so confident. They think it's a tax and not a cost of doing business. It's ridiculous. Wait, it is a tax. Where? So you're telling me people fucking understand that this is a tax and they like it? Like, I don't understand. I thought America's hated tax. God, America.
Isn't it yeah, it's a high poverty country, isn't it?
Wish there was like a charismatic
How the hell are they going to afford
like
47% tax?
That was genuinely guided by
Chat, if you're poor, how the hell are you going to afford 47% tax?
Dullards on the planet.
That's like half. That's like 50%. What in the world?
I have to believe that if only there was a fucking telegenic great man. I'm not a great man believer, okay? But I can't look at this.
Don't understand what they mean by the limits.
That if there was like a telegenic, charismatic
the market dropped a certain percentage that it should not do in a day, and if it does that, then it's unusual volume. Like there's something wrong, which there is something wrong. We're in a recession. They just won't admit it. So when unusual volume like that happens, it's called unusual market conditions. They put a limit and they have people not trade to protect accounts.
Anyway, in the next 3 minutes,
by law, the CME has a limit by law with brokerages and stuff. So that's just something they need to follow suit with, is to have people not trade. So,
lead us to a second Shays rebellion over tariffs.
And you have to think the people moving the market are people in live accounts. So, of course, they don't want you to empty your live account because that would be terrible.
But it doesn't make sense.
It's one thing. It's one thing failing a funded account or failing a challenge, but it's another thing when you have massive money in big accounts that people have used their entire lives or their entire life savings. You know what I mean? They got to hold off everybody from trading. Because if everybody blew their account, nobody would be trading at all, right?
Victory is part of a larger divine plan to destroy the United States.
believes Trump was chosen by God to win the election, but that his victory is a part of a larger divine plan to destroy the United States.
Meanwhile, they've lost Ted Cruz, who is nothing, okay, and is ultimately meaningless. Ted Cruz
All I'm
is
going
a
to say
meaningless
is
figure. He is a coward,
history
a
repeats
charlatan.
itself. It's all a lesson, of
I'm going to be
course.
talking to another Texas politician who I actually do like. His name is Greg Casar.
U.S. people
Here it
getting
is.
babied.
Hold on. Start virtual camera.
Let them blow their accounts.
Turn on the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we have Greg Casar in the building. Let's see if we actually do. He hasn't. Okay. Oh, nope. Hello?
Other way.
You wanna put your camera sideways? You wanna put your phone sideways? Oh, almost.
I got it. Can you see me okay?
No, it's still vertical. You wanna turn it sideways?
Put this thing away like this way.
Yeah, there it is.
about that?
Perfect.
I'm a
All
bad
right, we got
millennial
Congressperson Greg Casar in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on. This is very interesting times to have you on. I have a lot of questions for you.
Yeah, man, I got a lot of thoughts and questions too. It feels like every day it's an interesting and bad day, but yeah, looking forward to talking.
Who's this?
Yeah,
Greg Caesar?
Last time you were here, I was hoping that you would become.
Did they say
the,
Futures behind him?
Leader
Oh
of
no,
the
Future. I was
Progressive
about to say, is he
Party. And it
trade?
has happened. And it's
It says Future.
very exciting time.
I thought it said Futures.
There is some momentum building up right now with
One
the
second.
Democratic Party. There's a couple different planks, I would say, in the Democratic Party. It seems like you got the abundance mindset people on the one hand, but then you have the populist left on the other, with Bernie Sanders, AOC, yourself included, in this. In the big tent, not to say that these guys are fighting against one another, but instead it seems like there is a little bit of a party restructuring that's taking place, and I do hope, and this is my assessment. You don't have to agree with.
Sorry,
this or
chat.
not. I do
Dogs
hope that
were.
the populist left.
There's a
will,
dog
win
outside
out
barking
in
at
this
my dog,
process,
so
because
had
I
to
feel
bring
like
them
it's the
in
last hope
from the
for,
porch
America,
or balcony rather.
To not completely collapse on its own contradictions.
NFP will be low volume. I don't think it'll break down or it may stay in range.
So let's do it.
All right.
It's gonna be really
What do you think
interesting
about
to
that,
see
then?
tomorrow.
What do I
I'll
think
be
about that
asleep when
baseline
NFP
proposition?
happens.
Well, I think you are right about a few.
But we'll start the stream
He's
after
very
that.
clearly right about a few parts of this. One, the Democratic Party lost.
Unless I
in
get up
November
earlier.
Was devastating for.
Can't make that promise though, chat.
Elected obviously has led to daily horrible abuses. But
I'll
right
try
when that
to.
happened, there was immediately a big debate about whether this was a big deal of a loss or not. And, I went back to Washington, D.C. from Texas, and there were folks who were saying, hey, this wasn't so bad. The Dems didn't lose by very much. And there were those of us who said, no, this is devastating. Losing working class voters in this way over the course of the last decade plus destroys the entire purpose of the party, undermines the entire philosophy of the party. We might as well pack up and just go home and go the way of the Whig Party if we can't solve that. And first there was that debate, whether this was a big deal. And that argument in some ways has been won by those folks of all wings of the party who thought this was really bad, because now there's actually people who agree, no matter where they stand on centrist versus left or populist versus technocratic. They say, yeah, we've been losing working class voters and we got to fix that.
Technocratic.
So
what a word.
People have acknowledged the collapse.
He coming through with the vocab.
It seems like everybody's willing to go and work on the problem. And then what you've pointed out is how different people are coming up with their different ways of saying, well, what should the politics of the party be? And I think just the other day, after this Wisconsin Supreme Court election that Democrats so overwhelmingly won by rightfully targeting Musk's pillaging not just of our economy, but of our government, I think the anti-oligarchy political argument has really started winning the day there too, because it wasn't very long ago. And I'd be interested, folks watching at home, you should Google it. There were a lot of articles written in November, December, January about certain Democrats worrying whether punching Musk was good politics or not. They were saying, oh, this might backfire on us. We should be talking about how somebody making gajillions of dollars.
Oh, did you see what Elon Musk said yesterday?
No, most people don't think a billionaire
He said those destroying Teslas,
the economy. And I think we're starting to
it should be a criminal act and stuff, that they're all criminals.
My assessment is that
and that they should all be arrested.
It's not done, but actually the forces of people who say we can build a big tent
I don't know if you
by
saw
being
that.
a populist working people's party. I haven't seen this much success in a while. Of course, it's under really dire circumstances.
Yeah. I think a part of that initiative also, a part of that movement also needs to come with like real tangible changes being made in ways that the American population can see and comprehend. And I think that starts off with not instantly running to Silicon Valley tech CEOs.
Don't mind me, chat. I'm scrolling through Twitter, seeing if I see any other news
no,
here.
we're going to give you unfettered access as well once we come back to power. Please don't remove your donations. Please don't remove us from the donation
Okay,
list.
I found
But instead
something
to say, no,
on
this
Twitter.
country is
Let me
not
see
run
if I
by
pull it up
oligarchs.
here. Wait till
This
y'all
country is
read
not
this
run
one.
by, the incredibly
This one's about the
wealthy,
market.
and maybe repackaging it, not even with the terms oligarchs, but by simple corruption. Because Trump did something that I consider to be expert level messaging, where he just said he's going to drain the swamp. That was a lie. He's a swamp monster himself.
All right, I'm gonna bookmark it from my phone.
At its face, something that we see in Latin American countries quite a bit, as a matter of fact.
Donald Trump
messaging.
tweeted this out.
And I think that
November
the Democrats
2012.
in anti-corruption messaging, but it's not just about saying that you're anti-corruption.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? He said, if Dow drops 1,000 points in 2 days, the president should be impeached immediately. I mean, might have the tables have turned, eh?
Needs to happen in the Democratic Party on that front.
That's
but
funny.
I do
We have a
feel
big opening to do it now.
Yeah.
Part of what I
4K.
hope we can do is right now.
Well,
when
look
there's
how
all
much
this
the market
energy
dropped
against corruption,
today, huh?
let's go and
I mean, it dropped 1,000 points last
to get on the
night.
bills to ban congressional stock trading, to permanently get
Jeez.
big money out of politics, to end gerrymandering. And I think there's more energy
He said
towards
the president should
that
be
than
impeached
any other time that I've
immediately.
been paying attention here to
Well, what about
congressional
now?
politics. The energy has been there, of course, for years, but I feel like there's an opening for us to do it right now. I was at this rally in Tucson with Bernie and AOC. We were told there were going to be about 2,000 people.
Oh, is he in Arizona?
23,000 people showed up. They took over the entire football field. It was the biggest rally in Arizona history. And there were a lot of folks there who
Called
said,
it.
look,
I heard Arizona
I
in
wasn't with Bernie
there.
10 years
Yep.
ago, but damn, he's been
I
right
heard
this
a
entire
certain
time.
city.
Before, when he was talking about billionaires running the show behind the curtain, I wasn't so sure. But now they're out here in public bragging about it and running cabinet meetings. And so there's a real opening, I think, where the voters are going to go towards the people who say that breaking the unholy alliance between corporate greed and corrupt government should be like the central project of whatever the good party is. And I hope that the Democratic Party transforms and goes and fills that void.
Yeah. In the interim, however, in the short term, I think, in order to offer America a stay of execution, the Democrats have a lot more that they must do in order to claw back confidence from the American public. And I think a part of that is also engaging in obstructionist policies. I will admit that one of the most united messages that I hear from the Democratic caucus overall is specifically on issues that are not exactly top of mind for many Americans, issues that they don't really care about, whether it be restoring U.S. aid funding. Now, we can argue about whether or not U.S. aid is a necessary force, but that's not what I'm talking about. To me, I think Americans see U.S. aid in the same way that they see NATO, something that Biden is talking about. It's foreign policy. It's not related directly to their pockets, even if it does have a lot of good, right? I think on the messaging front, it seems like the caucus, the Democratic Party, uniting on those issues rather than issues that directly pertain to their civil liberties being taken away, I feel like is a moment that they're missing out on doing messaging on. Not focusing on austerity and how damaging austerity is, and mass layoffs at the federal level as much, I think, is also another one. And you can do that around the anti-Elon sentiment as well, because he is seen as the figurehead for this initiative.
Well, and here's an interesting point where I think, I'm I'm even though I'm weird and I'm in Congress and we're all just sort of humans and we pick up messages in a certain kind of way. And I think that what you just described, even though you watch Congress and politics really close, is really interesting because technically the united message that we hear all the time, that I hear every day in the halls of Congress is defend Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. But even what you hear most loudly is something like USAID. Why? You ask yourself why. And the answer to me, tell me if you disagree, but I think it's because there's such a strong, clear contrast between the Republican position
That'd be hard because they're paying for it though. Corinne said, yikes.
Doesn't matter if they said Social Security 10 times, if the Democrats said Social Security 10 times and USAID once, you hear the USAID one louder because
by the way, I appreciate y'all coming to these streams. I know it was unplanned.
And I think this is where sometimes
but I thought it was really important.
I think a lot of times why the Democratic Party message falls flat.
We're about to be 3 hours in. Oh my goodness.
Let's just say defend Social Security. It polls like bananas, polls at 90%, but nobody hears it. Why? Because it's boring. Republicans also say defend Social Security. If we talked about expanding it, making it so that no senior had to live in poverty ever again, increasing the payments way past cost of living by making it so that people that make over $400,000 a year have to actually pay into Social Security past $400,000, and there was some controversy around it, then it'd be a message. But right now, what I'll tell you is if you say what you just said to the leaders in the party, of which I'm sort of becoming one, I guess, in its own way as the Progressive Caucus chair, they'd say, Hasan, no, our message is on Social Security. And you'd be like, well, I don't know. And we'd show you 10,000 press releases that fell in the forest, but nobody heard them. And part of it is we need a stronger contrast with Republicans, be willing enough
when they were
engage in controversy so that people know.
Talking about getting rid of Social Security last week, 2 weeks ago, people were panicking. I don't know if y'all saw that. For those who don't know, I mean, in the US, because I know not everyone lives here, but when you finally retire, that's how you're getting paid as a senior for the rest of your life, right? All this is Social Security that you got from your career, from your job over the years, right? When you move jobs, they continue adding into that balance. So when you get older and you retire, that big chunk you got in there is what pays you every month, right? Your benefits. Talking about removing that means people got to work till they die. You're like, what? No. So yeah, that sent people into a panic about 2 weeks ago. People started getting nervous. That's tough.
The record-breaking filibuster, even though it was not directional against like any sort of bill that was passing, is a good start on this process.
I mean, the financial aid, I don't know if it was cut or frozen, something like that. It was frozen.
Initiative
for those trying to go to college.
To dominate the conversation, because that's what his comms team said.
That is tough.
If your message still falls flat to a certain degree because it doesn't have like a bold progressive agenda associated with it, attached to it, of like what the Democrats stand for, the Republican Party will move on from that, and it'll be all but an afterthought. Now, going back to what you just said, though, as far as like drawing a line of demarcation between your ideological enemies and the ideological enemies of the American working class, I think there are plenty of standout issues where the Democratic Party could actually separate itself directly through messaging discipline. One of those instances is on immigration. This is an issue that you and I align on almost entirely, and yet I have seen very little conversations coming from the top Democratic leadership in Congress, and I think that there needs to be significantly more organizing on this, and the Democrats should stop being fearful of all the polls that they see that show 60% of Americans love, random Venezuelan barbers being shipped off to El Salvador. Like, they should stop focusing on that and instead have a message that is dictated by empathy and morality, and start leading rather than following the Republican example.
Well, here's a place where I think we have a lot to learn from just 7 years ago. Remember, immigration during the last Trump administration was an offense issue for the Democrats, not a defense one.
Yeah.
Because, of course, if you tell American voters,
What's up, Harry? Not gonna lie, it's a common joke. You ain't like to
Wall Street CEOs as the villain,
have the center of attention, and he did not feel on that.
Especially as folks report that they're feeling less safe in their own communities, then yeah,
I don't know what
you're
yanks
going to wind up
mean.
with some of the poll numbers you see. But if you go and tell folks they're taking law enforcement resources that are supposed to keep you safe, and like you said, sending a barber to a foreign torture camp, I mean, that's not something that folks support. And I think that if we can lead with empathy, but where I would learn from the last time around with the first Trump administration is also tell people how this doesn't actually make you more safe, then I think we can make this an
But I can tell you,
but we shouldn't lose that second part. Because due process,
I think I
isn't
could
just
speak
an
for most
idealistic
Americans
thing.
on this one.
It's to protect your safety.
The leaders that represent America and what you see online are it's not the same.
Like a cop in a hoodie who is legally, like a student who is legally present here can get bagged by a cop.
Yeah, it's not the same. There's a lot of
that's just like not a country that people want to live in.
It's a lot of people following certain people because they're a certain race.
We've got to figure out how to get back on offense on immigration.
And that's about it. Or because they're not a woman.
Immigration is going to keep happening in this country, and we can't let the right wing forever have that as an issue.
And it's not.
That's unfortunate.
And it's not just offense on immigration as well, because this ties back to
people have to realize that most people in this country,
violation of First Amendment protections on U.S. soil.
It is a mixed country, but
only
there's a lot of people who can't vote.
Historic moments of like war, or during the
there's a lot of people who can't vote.
Period,
and I'm not going to go too deep into that.
Of the Red Scare, did we have this level
but
of erosion
when I tell you that people who would vote against it can't vote,
foreign nation, which I think is something that the Democrats could stress, but I don't think that they will. And it kind of goes back to the same fissure or the same lack of interest in both leading by example and the lack of interest in listening to really loud majorities within the base. When it comes
the people
to
that are
Israel.
usually
I think
this stuff are usually people with a lot of money and people just following for racial purposes. You know what I mean?
Democratic politicians get very scared.
Everyone else who's affected has no voice,
with some notable exceptions.
And it gets represented by the person who has the big voice.
A lot of favor from the base
sure,
of
for
the Democratic
Yankee.
Party and
Oh, okay,
independents as well.
gotcha.
This
Thanks,
is the one
Evan.
area where they never look at polls. They look at polls when it comes to immigration, but for some reason, Democrats never look at the polls on this key issue, where the overwhelming majority of the population wants a ceasefire, and now they could be polarizing the base and galvanizing the base against Donald Trump, who has continued and accelerated the violence that Palestinians are subjected to with our tax-paying dollars, and is using Israel, and even worse than that, using Judaism falsely with this conflation to black bag people for the crime of exercising their free speech. It's completely
Also, those of you who live in other
completely
countries,
unacceptable.
don't forget that grouping people by someone who represents them is what's the word? Stereotyping, right? You don't want to be stereotyped because some idiot did something. That doesn't mean that you do it.
It's just unacceptable.
So same thing, like stereotyping is another issue we got going on in the world here.
I think that we people that disagree with you or me on what is happening to folks in Palestine should still be speaking out.
Thinking that every American thinks the same is...
I think that it's really important for progressives when
you have no idea. Thinking that most Americans think this way.
Say, no, somebody should also be able to express.
You have to understand that the white man runs this country.
Popular views or their unpopular.
You have to understand that the rules that were in place years ago, felons can't vote, remember women couldn't vote, all these other things
independent and conservative
was in place so that now today only certain people can vote.
To them too. And again, when I think about how we
like I said,
from the
There's
wave of
over 1
organizing
million
energy 7
people
to 8 years ago.
who are
I'll be
minorities who
honest, I was
cannot
always
vote
pretty
because of their
uncomfortable
crimes.
with how there were moments in that period of time where
It's 1
there
million
were
votes not there.
progressives that wanted to shut down,
Number's probably higher than
like
that.
even right-wing speakers
But I'm
at a
just saying.
school. Look, you can
There's a lot of
embarrass
people who have
them,
no
you can
say-so.
point out that they're hypocrites.
Then you
But
got
I
the
think
millions of people who didn't vote at all. You know how many
promote
people didn't
more and
vote?
more speech, because it never works out
They don't talk about that. They just
for
say, oh, this is what
dissidents
Americans
and
want.
creative
You know how many
people
people
and
didn't vote?
progressives and workers
There's a lot of
for the
people that
state to be
didn't
able
vote.
to stop speech. It just never works
There's a lot
out
of people
the
who
right way.
couldn't
Free
vote, and then
speech,
there's
I
a lot of
think, is
people
just
who
sort of
didn't vote.
should be a core value for
Take
any
that into
populist
consideration.
movement, in my view. Just for viewers at home, I think if you want to look up the right way of dealing with this, a few decades ago in Austin, where I'm sitting right now, the KKK
And
was
as much
setting
as
up to do a
they
march. It was gonna
preach
be a
the
few
land of the
dozen
free, I
maniacs,
mean,
and activists went and asked the
we're
mayor
very
to
much
pull the
controlled
permit
in this
to not
country.
let them march. And the mayor, I
I
think,
mean, they're
did the right
killing us with
thing.
what they're putting in the
He
food.
let them have the permit.
Um,
the 36 freaking wackos were marching up Congress Avenue in downtown.
You know,
And
we
then
could eat the same
200
thing.
Austinites showed up.
Warehouse
lining
sends
the
it to
street,
Canada, sends
and
it
as
to
the
the
KKK
UK, sends
marched
it to
through,
Australia,
they turned around, pulled their pants down, and mooned
sends
them
it
and
to
humiliated them as
America.
they walked up the
America's
river.
got
And
16
I feel like it's
ingredients.
that kind of a spirit. That's
UK,
more of
Canada,
the American
etc.
spirit that I think would
They'll have
actually,
5 ingredients.
really behoove
Why?
us
We
as a
still get all the
Democratic Party
cancer
to embrace.
ingredients in our crap.
Look,
We got stuff damaging ourselves. Same
the
food.
debate over protecting the First Amendment, I think, is better served
all control.
when had over the boundaries of, like,
You know,
the
they
actual
want you
erosions
arguing
that are
on
taking
social
place.
media here. They
Your
want you
state, the
depressed.
state of
They want you to
Texas,
feel
has,
powerless.
some rigorous
They want the middle
applications
class
of
to
boycott, divestment, and sanctions laws that are in
It's
direct
all to
violation of
keep
the
you
First
sheep
Amendment.
They fired,
minded. You know?
I think she was like a speech therapist here
they
in
did.
Eastern
So that the rich could stay
County
rich.
because she
And certain
refused to
people
sign a statement
in certain
saying that she was
races can stay on
opposed
top and in control.
to, that she was going to refuse to participate
No,
in
that's
BDS.
not everybody's
So you don't
agenda,
have
but
to-
I'm saying that's
you don't
the
have
agenda
to
of the
have a
people
view
in
on BDS
charge.
to have a view that it's just deeply
And here we
wrong,
are. We are represented
for
by these
somebody to
people.
lose their job over that. And so I think that's where this gets most serious.
Yeah, and the
It's
two
tough.
senators that
We have
were
no say.
consistently critical of the anti-BDS legislation were Dianne Feinstein and Bernie Sanders.
When I say we, I mean the
I think
majority
that
of us, because if
this
you could
needs to
hear
be a
what the majority
conversation,
says, you'd
at
be
least
surprised.
In my experience, when I have this conversation with, like, right-wing people, with reactionary people,
AKA Hasan. This is
that
why
I
Hasan
talk
has a
to
platform.
both in my day-to-day or even with commentators and whatnot, they're shocked.
There's a reason why
They're
Hasan's
shocked
got
that this is
40,000
a
viewers,
thing that already
50,000
exists in the
viewers,
United States of
because
America far before October 7, and it is only accelerated.
still a lot of people who agree.
Under the Trump
You know?
administration, which unfortunately the Biden administration also contributed to by consistently delegitimizing the very valid student protests and encampments that were taking place on college campuses, with the 3,100 arrests that took place specifically on college campuses for students protesting against the state of Israel, calling it an apartheid or calling what Israel is doing a genocide. Even beyond the First Amendment grounds, I think that there's a reason why it only accelerates. There's a reason why issues like this only turn worse and worse under the Trump administration, because the Democrats don't consistently stand on principles on this. And I think that is like a real area of concern, because I talked to Ested Herndon from the New York Times the other day, and one of the things that he mentioned to me that is kind of disappointing overall is that Americans don't necessarily care about some of the most damaging aspects of the Trump agenda, and I think that is due to a lack of communication from the Democratic Party that is like recentering the attention on these issues, whether it be the First Amendment erosions that are happening with the Trump administration black bagging students with student visas, and even Mahmoud Khalil with a green card. The process of denaturalization, or the process of like revoking his green card is on erroneous claims is completely ridiculous. And also just the deportations as a whole, and the erosion of due process as a whole is not something that the American population is aware of. And I think beyond the tariffs, beyond everything that we've just talked about, the erosion of due process that has a long-standing tradition since like the 12th the 13th century and is at the underlying heart of liberalism in general. I think it's ridiculous that we're taking that away, and it seems like the public is not aware of it. Like that's terrifying to me.
Yeah, I know, it's really terrifying, and I think that
Yeah.
we
Public's not aware of it. They're brainwashed, but that's what they want. They want.
When we're talking about
This is what they
immigration, or
wanted.
when we're talking about public safety.
As you know, those who live here, you know people are
I also think
brainwashed.
that it's really important, and we have this
They
really
want you to be
critical
brainwashed,
moment
so you're
where
not
we
worried about the
recognize
important
that if
things.
we aren't addressing the core economic needs and economic
That way you can't
anxieties
fight.
of the people,
Can't
then
fight against it,
we're
right?
just
If you
like
don't know
all
what's
these
going
other
on, there's nothing to fight.
places that folks read about and think about only happens in a faraway place. You start losing
Yeah.
those civil liberties if at the end of the day, we lost that November election because folks felt like
Chat, I'll be here.
prices going up
I was
and
going
the
to turn my
wages
camera off
being
because I'm
stagnant
going
was a real
to
freaking issue, and we sounded as Democrats like the
work
party of the
out
status
while
quo.
I'm
And that's at the end of the day.
listening
And if
to
you
this,
don't
but I'm
make
here.
sure that you're listening to
I'm
how
free to
people are
chat.
feeling
I will
and feel
respond
like
to
you
you.
can actually address the issues of corruption in the economy, baseline for people, then next thing you know, you open up that window where all these things you've had for hundreds of years can start to go away. And I, as somebody who deeply cares about the rights of the vulnerable, about righteous causes that may not be fully popular yet, we don't get to do any of that until we first make sure that we have a broad popular base of voters who believe that we care about their
Absolutely.
pocketbook. And I think that's a big lesson for us.
I'm
horrible,
definitely, I'm
tragic
100%
lesson.
in agreement there for sure. I do agree. I think that you are better equipped to protect marginalized identities, marginalized communities like trans people, if you already have a bold, progressive, populist agenda that people sign on to, and you can earnestly communicate that and have people believe in your party again. Only after that can you go, all right, Medicare for all means for all. Like, we're not cutting trans people out of this bargain. If you want healthcare, then everyone else is going to get healthcare. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, people would be like, oh yeah, they gave some healthcare to some people where I might have some disagreement, but God, my entire life got way better. So like that's a side complaint. That's like they pulled my grandparents out of poverty and my neighbor's kids entirely out of poverty. And yeah, the asylum program seems maybe a little bit more liberal than I would want it. But like at the end of the day, these are the good guys. I mean, that's where we want to be.
Absolutely. I want to ask you one final question that might be a little tricky, and
okay.
So that's
why I come on here, man.
Yeah.
I always know you're always going to
two questions. Two questions.
Okay.
First and foremost, this is not the tricky one. First and foremost, the Bernie AOC, and you've participated in this as well. The Stop Oligarchy tour is great. I've attended it. I plan on attending the Los Angeles rally in April 12th as well. And I think that it's good because it's motivating the Democratic Party to pay attention to this kind of messaging, and it's proving your work, basically, that this kind of populist messaging is something that people want. They want a fighter. They want solutions. I do, however, worry that it kind of falls short of what is necessary for the time right now. And one of the things that I'm advocating for, at least, is that there should be a narrower focus on key issues that we want to either A, help fight against, or B, move messaging in the direction of.
By the way, chat, feel free to let me know, how is your day going
organizing
today?
Beyond just
How is
organizing a
your day
rally, but
going?
then using the organizational capabilities of this movement to direct it at individual problems. Mass demonstrations taking place against the unjustifiable arrest of Mahmoud Khalil, for example. I think that would be a really good way to solidify and single out an issue where there is a serious erosion of the First Amendment, and be able to maybe even deliver some kind of tangible results there to really prove that this kind of popular momentum can get stuff done. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think freeing Mahmoud Khalil is a great organizing principle, and I hope to hear those words repeated over and over again until not only he is freed, but everybody else in his situation is freed. The two messages
What's
that
up,
I
GM?
have tried to really
What kind of workout
focus
am I doing?
people on, both at those rallies and through my own messaging, are to save Medicaid as we know it, because it is on the chopping block, like they want to end it as we know it in the coming months. And that is a winnable fight, an entirely winnable fight. You just need national pressure and have 3 Republicans out of over 200 of them flip. And we could win that, just like the Affordable Care Act, which obviously you and I both know how little it is compared to what we want. But since that was saved about 7 years ago, that was a galvanizing moment. Now Medicaid is on chopping block. And then second, firing Elon Musk, which I was told by Republican members of Congress was never going to happen, that he was going to make it through just as long, if not longer, than Trump. Trump's already starting to feel the pressure of how this is politically dragging him down. I think it'd be a huge win if we get Elon Musk fired. And, you know, those are the sorts of organizing principles where I think we got to make a clear demand.
He said it'll be a huge win if we get Elon Musk fired.
Great central organizing principle.
Yo,
saving Medicaid as we
talk
know
about
it,
being honest.
Organizing principle. Of course, freeing Mr. Khalil is a moral imperative. People can have their whole long grocery list, but I think honestly it's not that long, and we can have organizing campaigns around each of them. But to me, it all kind of brings us back to what is the Democratic Party's central organizing principle. And I don't think it can be a laundry list of issues anymore. And back in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, it was breaking that alliance between corporate greed and corrupt government, and saying that at its heart is the problem that we're trying to fix for people. And I think we've got a chance of bringing at least some of that back here in the coming months around any of those campaigns.
Yeah. Okay, so the last question I have for you before we let
nice, some playing scrunches type shit. Just got back from the gym. Oh, nice. Let's go.
What
did you work out today?
You endorsed Brad Lander. You've met him before, according to the political reports, at least when you were a council member, and so was he in New York. And I was wondering what the decision making.
Yesterday, I did a mix of everything at the gym, which was.
There is currently
you know
a
how it
lot
is.
of
You do a full
popular
body
momentum
workout, you get
building
really sore.
behind someone who I have supported, someone who I plan on interviewing as well, Zoran Mamdani.
Easier today.
And Brad, from what I understand, is also a progressive person as well. It's not, you know, he's not exactly like a conservative either. But I was wondering if there's what was like you, especially as the leader of the Progressive Caucus.
I'm happy to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, and I got a chance to talk with Senator Mamdani the other day, and I wished him a ton of luck and hope people rank him really highly as well. And obviously would be thrilled if he was able to win the mayor's race. I endorsed Brad Lander, who's the controller of the city of New York. So he's a citywide elected official already. And I've worked with Brad for years and years and years, like 10 years. I was elected to the city council here in Austin. First ran when I was 24. Started out when I was 25.
We're
Brad
back.
when he was
Little short, little.
City council member.
Oh, you did
And
chest and triceps.
Really
Nice.
about Brad is
Elon been on
like a generous
since Trump got
person
in office.
Most people are trying to
Had
figure
his
out
son in the
how
White House.
relationships
Looking
and things
bird.
flow themselves.
I
He
seen
was
that.
out
Yep.
there helping make sure that things were
When he
better
was in the
in
Oval
cities all around
Office,
the
I don't know. There was just
without taking
something
credit
weird
for it.
about it. Was it just
And,
me?
that's potentially maybe
Just
sometimes
seeing
political
Elon in the
detriment.
Oval Office, I was
But,
like,
you know,
oh,
we were working, for example,
is he supposed to be
like, on
there?
making
You know,
sure that we could pass paid sick days policies in Texas, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, just like
nothing
the one
against
that
him. I
he
mean, I
helped get
obviously
done
don't know
in New
him
York
as a
City
person,
when
but
there
it
were
was just, I don't know.
tenants
It was
getting
just weird
evicted
seeing him in
in the
there.
city of New York, and
I still have the same
the
theory
big
though.
money that was actually behind
He
the
wants to
equity
get
fund, private equity
things
fund that was kicking him
approved
out,
because he
was
has
based
this
in
whole
Texas.
agenda
New
about
York
going to
coordinated across
Mars.
states. So he's a great guy.
He
Very,
already
very
has
progressive,
everything going about colonizing
a real
Mars,
shot at building
so
a winning coalition because he's
he
already a
needs a
citywide
lot
elected
of
official. But the good
things to
news
be
is,
regulated
with
and
ranked
signed
choice
off on
voting,
and okayed, and I
he
think,
doesn't have to be a spoiler to
and as you can see, he's been getting
Zoran, and Zoran doesn't have to be a
okays and
spoiler to
money
Brad.
and
People
things that he
support
needed,
Brad
right?
can rank them
For those
as
who've been
number 1 and
keeping
number
up.
2, or number 2 and number 1.
So I think that's what
And I
he's
think
like
that
Zoran
doing.
as a real shot.
He's there for
as
his
well, according
businesses.
to all the polls that I've seen so far.
Honestly.
Especially because I think everyone, at least every
Glad
progressive
you said
person,
that.
every
It was
leftist
hella weird.
person,
Mm.
even liberals should probably
It's scary when
try
someone
and,
has that much
make sure
power,
that Andrew Cuomo
right? Not just
is
being one of
not,
the richest man on the planet,
next
but
mayor of,
men on the planet,
New
but
York City.
owning a
amen to that.
social media
And
network,
and I think it's
you have a
great
lot of
reason
control.
for us, again,
You can control
New York City
what
mayoral
gets out
race,
there
you've
and
got
what
things
doesn't
like
get out
public
there. You
financing
can
of
hide
campaigns.
things. You can.
You've got ranked choice voting, and so that creates the opportunity
That's all I'm
for
gonna
there to be
say.
coalition building, where
That's
like
all I'm
you
gonna
and me don't
say.
have to be talking about how your candidate's screwing up the
I'll leave it
other
there.
candidate's shot. I think that they can, and that's part
I
of why I
watch what I
think
see on the
reforming
internet
our
too,
electoral
because
system is so key.
they don't
Not
want you
just in
waking
New York,
people
but
up.
across the country.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You know how it is.
And I look forward to hearing from you again. Greg Casar, everybody. Is there any final words that you want to impart on people here?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. And I just think for everybody watching, you got to know, like, we're in a moment. I went and had a town hall in Chip Roy's district, who helped lead the Right Wing Freedom Caucus, in a town of 8,500 people.
By the way, thank y'all for liking up the stream. I appreciate that. I didn't
So the
even
organizing you're doing
mention
make a real
likes the
difference. I know,
entire
like, the last few months,
stream.
people are like, what
And
can I
y'all
do
been
to make a
spamming the
difference?
like button. So thank you
Phone
so
calls, these
much.
town halls, these marches,
I really
this
appreciate it. If
organizing,
you've been
like a
enjoying the stream, don't
workplace,
forget to like it.
it makes a real
That's
difference.
really
We're
cool.
in a
Thank you,
moment
y'all.
right now where we can
Really
transform and
appreciate that.
reshape the Democratic Party, where we can change
He's doing what
the
most
boundaries
billionaires do
of all this,
behind
but
the
we got to
scenes.
think
He's
about
just doing it in the light.
set of people.
That's a good point.
I have another question. I can't
That's a
believe I
really
didn't
good
ask you about
point. He's
this.
just doing it in front of our faces, right?
You give me a little space to drag on, and here
That's
we go.
true.
Yeah, no, Trump's tariffs. So the UAW
Yeah, man, we're
has come
in
out.
tariff world now.
Yeah, UAW has come out in support of it. I love.
That was a really
I
good
love
point,
Trumping.
GM.
I understand where they're coming from in terms of like trade protectionist policies. It does feel like this is another moment for the Democrats where I hope that they message in this moment in the appropriate way, where they don't come out as like unrestricted free trade supporters, which is precisely the reason why Donald Trump was able to carry over that resentment against the Clinton brand in 2016, where a lot of the working class that lost their jobs due to NAFTA truly despise this brand of Democratic Party politics. And while Trump is, of course, going in this direction in the most haphazard way possible, there needs to be a industrial base built here before any sort of trade protectionism could take place. And obviously, these tariffs are going to increase the cost of living, the cost of all goods, and it's going to have truly harmful effects.
It's not what we want to hear. Increasing the cost of living, it's already up.
Overall is not
increasing the cost of groceries, it's already up. Increasing gas, it's already up.
Is going to.
I don't think people realize how much this is going to affect us. This is crazy.
Trump wants Democrats to do. He wants Democrats to just be the anti-Trump party. So then just go back into as much Clintonism as possible, which sounds like we don't care about having American jobs here. We can't do that.
Yeah.
What we should say is, tariffs are a powerful tool. They're like a scalpel. And what Trump is going
What
and doing
people
is
have
the
to
equivalent of
learn
using a
is
chainsaw for brain surgery. I mean, like, as you
this
pointed out, it's reckless.
this ain't about who you like. A lot of people voted for Trump because they like him as a person, and
the American worker.
This is more about survival.
Paying American jobs,
You know what I mean?
Something that the UAW stressed.
Same thing whether you want to vote for a woman or not. It shouldn't be whether it's a woman or not, whether they're white, black, whatever, pink, purple, whatever color the person is. Who cares?
Wiped out collective bargaining.
Shouldn't matter the gender, or the color, or anything, or the race.
That should be
what should matter is this person going to make this country livable?
A lot more about that. He just got rid of the minimum wage of $17 an hour for federal contractors.
His mic keeps going up every time I turn this down.
Actually, look, we're gonna see with these tariffs is just wait to see the lobbyists
turn it down a little bit, but you know what I mean, chat.
Get their exemptions.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to voting for leaders of countries and people who are going to control the price of living and all that stuff, you can't choose who you like or don't like. You have to really think, what's the best for you, your family, your kids, you know what I'm trying to say? Like at the end of the day, that's what it's going to come down to. Who's going to make things livable? Who's going to make you not go homeless? You know what I mean?
Because they thought he was on their side, but he was always a problem.
That's what it comes down to.
only screwing workers and consumers.
Right? No feelings
He should
involved.
be controlling the information that
Open-minded,
we all
but a
get.
lot of liberal
And
bias from
as
these
soon as
guys, in
Trump's
my
in
opinion,
office,
respectfully.
right, he goes and cuts a $25 million
It's a good point.
settlement with
From a
Trump. $25
policy
million
guy,
in tax
when you
with
peel the
Trump.
layers back,
And now he's
that's all
got
that matters
multiple
for
meetings
real.
at the Oval Office.
Exactly,
He's trying
yeah.
to get rid of his
Yeah.
anti-monopoly
That's
lawsuit.
true.
So this is the moment where Democrats need to say we're breaking.
And honestly,
the
that's all I care about at the end of the day. I care about
cutting Trump the check.
having rights
Tariffs can work,
and
but this
the
is
cost of
actually all
living
part
being
right
low.
now of the
You know
Trump
what I mean? The
tax
cost to survive being low.
Within nefarious purpose. It's a sales tax, and they want to cut the last like remaining progressive taxation structure we have in this country, and they want to make the working poor foot the bill.
Yep. They want to make the working poor. Yep. When he says working poor, he's talking about the middle class because they're making us be poor. But yep. They want the middle class to foot all the bills, all the taxes, and then you get all the rich people somehow paying the same amount of taxes as someone who makes six figures. All the multimillionaires somehow getting over.
And responding to that message.
No effect on them, of course.
If we can get folks to run for the House on that kind of message,
yep,
and win some of these tough seats,
just make the middle class suffer.
On that kind of message. And what Trump did,
not for nothing, but the middle class is paying for people in the lower class. Your taxes are going to people who are claiming disability, who aren't who don't have any disability. For them to sit at home and collect a check.
And have the kind of transformation the Democratic Party needs.
Don't get me wrong, certain people do have disabilities. I have a disability with my liver disease, but I'm talking about the people who lie and say they have one who don't. Those people who be lying.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Have a good one.
There's a lot of them, chat.
That was great, Casar, ladies and gentlemen. Text 35.
And where I grew up around a lot of people like that.
Enjoyed that, and I hope it was.
And if they have kids, especially if you're a woman, and you have kids, and you claim like a physical disability and why you can't work, because you have kids, you're gonna get even more money per kid, not just for yourself. You have kids, and that's why a lot of those people have a bunch of kids. Yep.
Because I'm starving.
Because they get more money. Chat, I know someone who's just lazy as hell who makes like $3,000 a month sitting on their butt at home from the government.
There are moments when I do that. There are moments when I don't.
Claiming disability because of their weight.
This wasn't one of those instances. There's a reason why I did what I did. Okay.
They sit on their butt at home, and they're getting all that money because they have like 3 kids. So getting like $3,500 a month to sit in their butt at home. You know how many people wake up and go to work and make $3,500 a month? They actually have to get up, go to work, do the work, come home, worry about their kids, and they're getting $3,500 a month. But you got someone else here who's just lazy, who's getting $3,500 a month from your taxes.
There is no way
because they have kids and they're lazy.
In perhaps one of the most important news.
Those should be the things that they're looking into. How about the people look into if people are actually disabled? Because there's millions of dollars, since they're talking about cutting expenses. There's millions of dollars going to people who aren't actually disabled. They're just lying on the paper. And don't get me wrong, I know they have a thing where, because I actually know.
Are you for real?
You're gonna laugh. I actually know someone who got caught. So they got injured on the job, but it quickly healed in a week, right? But they filed for disability, claiming for like over a year that they couldn't go back to work, so they're getting paid disability, right? Long story short, they got caught outside on a ladder under a roof, like fixing a roof, and then someone took a picture and sent it in, and they're like, "Oh, you're claiming disability that you've been out of work for a whole year, collecting disability benefits, but you up here on a ladder on your roof. Your back is fine." So yeah, there are investigators who do get randomly assigned to check to see if people are still, having issues or if they're lying. But what I'm saying is maybe we need to do that a little more, because it's just too much money going to that. What do y'all think?
Let's hear what he had to say.
It's effed up, everyone working the system somehow.
I have a lot of respect for China, and I have a lot
yeah, it is. You know what? I literally have a disability, and with my disability, if I were to not do trading or anything else that I do, where I make my money,
I think it's a mistake, but he's worked with Brad,
then I'd have to be on disability. But that disability, chat, would be like,
you know, went after to endorse.
It was like under 2,000. I think it was like 1,600 and change. It was like 1,600 and change a month. That is not enough for me to live. And I don't think it's fair for people who are poor. Like, I have a dying disease. Like, there's nothing I can do. I was born with it. There's nothing I can't. What can I do? You know? And you know, I mean, y'all see me in the morning. I mean, yeah, I'm at home. I'm in my chair. You know, but y'all know sometimes I don't stream. I'm not feeling well, and that's just part of my disability. But obviously, I can't legally just call out of work like 10 times a month, right? So anyway, the point is
literally the leading contender right
now
after fucking Andrew Cuomo.
We gotta change some of these programs. There's a lot they gotta look into, you know. Like, there's people with disabilities who don't get paid nothing because they don't have kids. They don't get paid enough to pay rent. They don't get paid enough to pay their mortgage. They don't get paid enough to do anything. Most of them still live with their parents or live with family, you know. But then you got people who aren't really disabled. They got injured at work and then they're cheating the system and they're fine. And because they have kids, they're getting thousands of dollars a month. It just makes no sense. But yet we're worried about the Gulf of America.
And on the non-Canadian content.
You know what I'm saying? Glad you pushed through, champ. Thank you, GM.
Our tariffs, though, unlike the U.S. tariffs, will not affect.
All right, Chad, looking at the time, I got about 2 hours till the stream I have with members. So members, I will see you in 2 hours. I think I'm going to get off of here because I do have a stream in 2 hours. It was fun. This was 3 hours and a half. Unexpectedly, I thought we'd only be up here 30 minutes. So this was a fun, unexpected stream. I hope you learned a lot. I think it was an interesting live. If you enjoy these, feel free to let me know. It won't be every day, of course, but you know, maybe like once a week or twice a week, we can do these and hang out.
To our auto workers and the companies affected.
I really want to go live on my Twitch again. Thanks for the live, no problem. See you, Curry. Great live, thank you. I really want to go live on Twitch again like we used to back in the days. That was fun. So we'll see. All right, y'all. Let me end the poll. Let's see. What were the poll results? What were the poll results? 73% said no. All right. All right. I'll catch you tomorrow. See you. Thank you so much, y'all. Have a great day.
To President Trump's new tariffs on the auto industry. Starting Monday, Stellantis will shut down its Windsor assembly plant for 2 weeks. The factory makes the Chrysler Pacific